I'm recording. I've been recording for the last minute. I'm gonna be honest because I hit the
Oh,
button.
sick.
I didn't
Hi,
know when.
welcome to
I didn't know when
on
to
the Loud
pivot.
Equals
If I'm being
Funny.
honest.
Welcome back to Loud Equals Funny. Speaking of shouting into your microphone, we've been loud and we've been funny. This is another episode. We got Caddicarus here,
This is
everybody. Welcome.
Hyperfixation 6.
And
Yes, or 7.
it is absolutely. Thanks for having me back. I like how you talking about shouting into microphones, and here is Caddicarus. Like, yeah, okay.
Yes.
There he is.
Well, we're
Here's the
loud
guy.
and funny. We're shouting into microphones. That's the thing.
We'd get the insufferable,
Um,
loud and funny man.
We're going to
Yes.
talk about some
Before
people
we-
shouting into microphones today. We're
True.
talking all about people screaming and making it sound nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Oh,
they
man.
Before we get started, actually,
Yes.
first of all, I want to sort of preemptively apologize to the audience and to y'all. I have some big anxiety going on. I might go quiet every so often.
Are you good, Tristan?
Doing my best here, but
That's okay.
So everybody,
Also-
be extra loud.
yeah,
And then it'll be
extra
very
loud,
funny.
extra funny.
Yeah,
No, let's
and then
just be
everyone
loud
will
and-
chill.
Let's be loud and uncomfortable and not funny. It'll be
Yeah.
really great.
But there's also the funny little thing of one of us here has released some new music recently, a funny little parody.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
Oh, I heard it. I heard it.
Yeah.
User's Paradise.
Users Paradise.
Well,
Look
I
it
have
up.
I have to shout out an individual, Big Jack Films, who we found. I found completely by mistake. He has an official endorsed by the Nostalgia Critic follow up to the 3 Nostalgia Critic movies. That
Oh
is.
no.
It is
Oh,
a
yeah.
review
Oh, I was listening to this while I was cleaning out. Yeah, I'm in the. Yeah. Oh my god, I was cleaning out my filming space outside, and I was listening to this. Yeah, that's the dude that he's been doing this since he was like 10 years old or something.
Yeah, and
Incredible.
he had a parody of Gangster's Paradise in his. It's all the continuation of the reviewer verse storyline is wrapped within a Ready Player One review, the movie version, and it's like
Oh,
4
good.
hours long, 3 parts. The third part is like feature length. It's insane. And in the beginning, he's setting up the dark evil lord that's like behind the user war or whatever. And they're, for whatever reason, they're singing Goblork Paradise. And so people in the chat were just like, you should make a User's Paradise song. And I was like, you know what? As the kids say, bet. And
Hell yeah.
it fucking happened. And
Yeah,
it was
it
pretty nice.
I liked it.
Well, thank you. We got Black Brains involved in it. He had some interesting bars, and now I'm thinking of doing some more like parody stuff in the future. So, it also pushed off the other little project that all of us were working on.
Yeah.
But that'll still be happening. That's still coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an endless well, isn't it? Like you've essentially just found, this just endless stream of stuff to talk about, and there's just a million songs you can do. There's so many you can do.
Yeah,
So many lines, so many references. It's just endless.
I've
Users
got
in
some
Paris.
ideas. Oh yeah, that was gonna be a stream. I even started making the thumbnail, but then I got worried that people would think that the stream was about specific French people. So now I'm kind of waiting for like XQC to be outed as a pedophile or something, and then,
Nice.
then I can make him the user. Well, he's French Canadian, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's close enough.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
whatever.
it's they're supposedly human. Yeah.
Supposed
If you really want to stretch it, stretch
Yeah,
the
if you look
definition.
at them under a microscope, maybe, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we have
Just
an
letting you know.
interesting-
Sorry about this. My fucking Audacity just crashed, so I'm like everything from here on out is now being recorded. So the
Oh, you're
first
good.
part I'm gonna sound awful. So yeah, there you go.
You'll be
Okay.
fine.
Nice.
We're gonna break the mold here because
Yes.
I was saying before we started. These days, a lot of people have kind of stopped listening to music albums, from rock music bands.
Yeah.
and a lot of the people listen to the Spotify playlists and things like that, and
Yeah,
today
they'll just like click play on the top songs.
Yeah,
if
and
they
then
just wanna
Spotify will
listen to
just
an artist.
randomly shuffle too.
well,
Like,
I mean, even if they're
Dude, I'm pissed. I'm actually pissed. Hang on, let me get on my soapbox about this. Spotify defaults to shuffle when you play albums.
yeah,
oh, that is
Does it?
terrible.
it
Yeah,
does.
it does. It's fucking. It breaks my brain.
Jeez, I've
Like,
been
ignoring
using
the
Apple
fucking-
Music for years, so I don't know about the Spotify shit. The only thing that Apple Music misses out on in comparison to Spotify is most game soundtracks aren't there. But to be honest, I like this is gonna sound weird to a lot of people. I don't listen to game soundtracks outside of games because I'm like I have a clear separation. I have like a dividing wall. Like I have tons of game soundtracks on vinyl. I love listening to them and shit, and there's some incredible ones, but then it's like, do I want to listen to them in the car when I've already been playing it for hours on repeat and I've made a video about it with the music in the background on repeat? Nah, not really. So I kind of try and keep I keep the music separate from the game soundtracks technically in my
I guess for me, as like, I've got a lot of games that have really contributed to how I make, what kind of music I want to make, like, the Persona soundtrack, Metroid Prime, stuff like that. So listening to that music is, I don't know, I guess I consider it just the same as anything else, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from, especially some games where you hear like the same battle theme repeated forever, something like that.
Yeah, and then you gotta like open up another user rant, and then this like rant. What? Where am I from? Jesus Christ! I am not from the House of Commons. No rant. Thank you. Yeah, user rant. Thank you.
User
British.
rant. A user.
Yeah.
And you go on there and they've got Persona music and Sonic
exactly,
music.
and it's good shit. And I'm waiting for honest to God, Klonoa boss music. I'm waiting for that to pop up in a user rant at some point. I'm waiting for that.
Klonoa weirdos out
Give
there.
it another month.
It's gonna happen.
Didn't you do a video a long time ago about this lady that was obsessed with Jacques from Spyro 1?
Yeah,
that is such a specific. I almost think it's a shit post. It's too specific.
No,
it's
she's
too
been doing
specific.
it for years. It's real. But she moved on.
Andy Kaufman did it for years. People are committed to the bit, you know?
I guess so. That's true. She moved on though. She's got a new rare husbando. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's a weird rare secret Pepe, whatever it is. Yeah, no, it was actually the one that it was the Astro Boy and Jason Gomez one where they're yelling about the anime VTuber, and a lot of the music throughout it was like from Mega Man X7, and I was like, this is first of all terrible Mega Man game. Like it's one of the bad Mega Man games. It's the one with Burn to the Ground. It's pretty.
Oh
God.
Yeah, I love it.
But it has really good music throughout parts, so I'm listening like, wow, this is an insane, incomprehensible fucking rant these people are doing, but it's got this really jamming fucking soundtrack going on. I'm conflicted,
But you don't have to be conflicted because the way that they talk when they're ranting on a user, when they're doing that, like it sounds like a cutscene from Mega Man X7. It's like the voice acting, like the cadences. It just sounds like that's what you'd be hearing in a boss fight. You know, it sounds exactly like the game.
Awkward PS2 acting, bad mixing. Everybody's mic is peaking. You're right. It's perfect. Yeah,
exactly.
It's like the Yakuza dub. It's great. So yeah, we've each got lists of our top albums, and speaking of game soundtracks, we were talking about if we'd include game soundtracks, and I think.
I included one.
Yeah, I mean, you can have whatever you wanted. I wasn't dissing game soundtracks. I was just like, to be honest, like when we started talking about this before I came on today, we were talking about this before, and I was like struggling to narrow it down from 100. I've managed to get it to fucking. I got it to 30. I couldn't get to 20. And even then I got 30 in my absolute this is who I am as a music person albums. Then I had 30 runner-ups, and then I had 30 that I've discovered recently that I'm still trying to listen to. So I've got a lot of shit for you guys. You are going to be going on for hours. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I have 20. I narrowed it down pretty well. I was like I say that, but then I was changing it up until like minutes before we started, and like, you know what? Not this one. I'm gonna put this one on here. Tristan and I were comparing. Like, wait, you've got this band. Do we have the same one? Oh, we do. All right, you talk
Yeah.
about this one, and I'll do this one.
Oh, see, I didn't even consider that. But then maybe
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. Like the over the pond, what's translated, yeah, like I'd be interested. Yeah.
I have a
most
couple British bands on here. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a good
Mm.
amount because I'm into progressive rock and stuff. I tried to keep it to one artist per one artist per
Yeah.
album or
I
whatever.
think what I'm gonna do, because I really like a lot of these artists that I have here on my list. I'm gonna like just kind of quick fire after I talk about the album, just like fire off some other albums that are really good by then.
Oh geez, dude! Like,
Yeah.
again, when I had my initial 100, at that point I still was like one artist per album kind of shit. So like I've got a lot of music in my brain, not too much of it. Grew up in a very musical family, so yeah.
No such thing as too much music.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I kept it to one artist per person, or per whatever, one album per artist. And then the other thing was I didn't include a lot of stuff from really popular bands. There's two here that are like really big name artists, but other than that, I tried to go hipster and be like, I like Pink Floyd and the Beatles and all of that. That's all fine, those are all classics, but here's some stuff that you might not have heard of.
So I'm the same. I got some hipster shit in here. I got some shit that even you guys have probably never heard of, because when I say cult, I mean like cult in the UK in the 70s. Like
Nice.
I didn't
we're
know
talking
Caddy
super.
I didn't know Caddy was a Mew poster. This is fucking crazy. He's got the red flannel out. This is full.
Yeah, listening to in an airplane over the sea.
That almost made my list. That's a really good
It's
album.
a good album. Yeah, I love it.
If we're doing like
boy.
runner-ups or whatever, I'm down for like an extra. Just rattle off a few extras. I'm good.
Yeah.
Because now Caddy has like an extra 10, so yeah.
Yeah, I have.
I've got an extra 30. I've got 30 of my. I narrowed it down as close as I could. Then 30 runner-ups, and then 30 newer finds, which I'm really really enjoying, and I could probably have them in my top, but I need to have a few more re-listens beforehand. So yeah,
Okay.
I've got I've got 90 for you. So fuck it.
Hell, I'm down to just like scroll through my music collection too, and just be like, and that one, and that one. Like, yeah.
Thank you, Mega Man.
Thank you for ranting.
Thank you, Electric Six. Thank you. I'm blanking on bands now. Yeah, okay. I need to get the fucking list open.
Let's get it going.
There we go. I found it. There we go. Yeah. Oh yes, those are the bands. Those are
Do
bands.
we want to roll for initiative or something? Figure out which order we go in.
Well, what do you want? Do you want me to just read
how
what
would
I've
we
got,
do
or do you want to like download images? I don't know what you're showing on the stream. What should we do?
yeah. We should post
Well, yeah,
our.
if you want to post them, yeah, because I'll edit them into the video. Like when we're
Oh, mine's on my phone. Hang on a sec.
I'm gonna see.
I'm gonna repost.
Oh, okay. So you can download the chart. Oh, yeah. Okay.
It didn't
I see.
fucking put the thumbnail for Nutty. Hang on.
No, I didn't do one with like the fucking album. Oh,
Also-
I probably should have done that.
Also, yeah, Tristan, you're putting them in the wrong place.
Oh,
Yo,
right.
you got some surprise ones,
shit.
Bane.
I forgot.
Yes.
I put everything in the wrong place. Let me post the thumbnail.
Yeah, my
Oh,
list
shit.
is very varied. I think when it comes probably the different.
I am seeing some good shit in there. I don't want to spoil it, but there is some good shit in there.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
gonna have
not.
to edit mine because
I don't-
one of the thumbnails isn't showing up.
I'm gonna have to really trim this episode.
I don't have my mine with like the thumbnails, the album art and stuff. But I've got.
You're good. If you post them as text, I'll make them and put them in the video.
Oh sure.
All right, let me pop the thumbnail in there real quick.
No, it's
Okay,
not fucking
I've
fucking-
downloaded all three, and I'm gonna like
Hyperfixation.
post them one after the other.
All right.
All right, give me 1 second. I want to break your stuff up real quick.
While there's a little bit of yes, you used my picture I sent you. I'm so happy about that.
I love it. It's amazing.
It's pretty damn good.
Okay, right. Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh hell
While
yeah.
there's a bit of dead air, much like Tristan, how you were talking about being a little bit, anxious mess and all that shit, and you're going through stuff. I'm not going through anxiety or anything. I'm more of a depression ADHD guy. But for anybody that has not seen or heard my voice or anything for the last couple of weeks, because this will be the first thing I've done publicly for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I did see that people were a bit worried.
I've deactivated socials and everything. I was just getting social media wasn't the cause, just to be clear. I was just sick of, it gets to a point where you're having a mental breakdown and you're waking up and you feel like the world is crumbling around you, and then you go on Twitter and then you see people saying your arm is going to fall off because of the tattoo is bleeding. You must go to hospital. The artist needs to be sued. This isn't, I don't need that shit, and I just like, I'm fucking done. So I'll probably come back. But yeah, so everybody, if anyone was curious, if not, doesn't matter. But yeah, I am completely okay. I'm stabilizing now. Had to go through a fucking total med detox, and it felt like I was drunk for about 9 days, and I was twitching a lot, and it wasn't fun. But I'm back in it now. Yeah, back in it now. Going to be streaming soon. Going to be getting on the next video done as soon as possible. But yeah, I'm okay. Don't worry about me. Everything's cool.
Hell yeah.
Well, shit,
all right, that's great to hear.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know here. This is I know that
you got exclusive fucking comeback access. So yeah, be happy about that.
You were going through a bit of a I saw your post
stuff,
earlier, so it's good to hear your.
Well, it's cool. Like I mean, sometimes the only thing you can do is joke about it. But it's just been when you like get diagnosed with something new and then you're like, oh, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense, then you start getting treated for it, and then you end up going down a fucking rabbit hole of introspection, and then everything just gets a bit too heavy, and then you just kind of
weird.
Yeah, you kind of collapse in on yourself, and that was what was happening with me. My ADHD meds were working, but they were doing the wrong kind of work. They were making me think too hardly about everything about me as a human being. It was
that's not good.
Well, that must explain why I feel like this way. This means I'm a bad person. This means this, and it just kind of spiraled out. So yeah, my doctor was like, yeah, shouldn't be doing that. We're gonna take you off everything. And I was like, well, what about the side effects? And she said, the side effects you're gonna feel are going to be less severe than what you're going through being on them, so just cut them out. It's like, all right, okay.
This reminds me of when I tried mushrooms, and it was like, I'm a little bit too aware. I think I don't need this.
Dude, yes, yeah. I've heard about people microdosing that shit, and not Boogie. But I have heard about people microdosing that stuff. I don't even think it's legal here. Like, I don't think any kind of. We've only just got CBD oil, which is extremely mild cannabis, like extreme. And that's legal, but it's like it's so minimal. There's not much point. But
to be fair, I will say CBD is fucking great for stress. Like,
I'll have a look into it. Like, people have said, like, it's worth a try. Like, just get a bit of oil, put it in your dinner or something. I'll see. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I used to a place I worked for. We sold CBD because we were kind of selling everything we could at the end there. And yeah, I got a lot of stuff. And I really liked the CBD water that they sold. It was literally just like water mixed with CBD, and it was a bit of an upcharge, but I got it for like normal price of water, so I just bought a bunch of it before we closed.
Yeah. Drinking weed like water, fantastic.
Oh, they sell weed soda now.
Oh yeah,
they sell like little Kool-Aid packets of weed that you could just put in a bottle of water.
Yeah,
they work. They really fucking work too.
Yeah, I'm excited to try some of the weird weed stuff in Toronto whenever I visit soon, because
so it's legal. It's legal in Canada or just Toronto?
It's legal in Canada. Most of Canada at least.
Wow.
In Canada, although now the new thing is you're getting. I think it's not technically legal, but it's like this is music related, by the way, because most of these people are on drugs. It's fine.
Sean made music and they're on weed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, now you're seeing like places that sell shrooms. Like there's a place called Shroom Lagoon, and it's just a store. It's like on a main street. It has a mushroom logo, and they're ballsy about it. I think that's now chill too. I don't know. Yeah. I had a whole chocolate bar that was like 2,000 mg, and I was like not having. At one point I was having a really good time with it, but mostly it was not for me.
Yeah, okay. So why is it that we share a fucking king and don't share drug laws? What shit is that?
I don't know, but I guess we both share blame for Epstein Island or something. So I guess
Yeah, I guess we do. I guess we
there you
do.
go.
Hey,
Tristan
shit.
and
Us as countries or us personally? Just
us personally, as
okay,
YouTubers.
Yes.
as YouTubers. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
I'm
we
writing
were
everything
we were
down. The police,
complicit.
the police will be at your house in 20 minutes. It'll be
Oh
fine.
my
We were
god.
The
complicit.
policeman.
The policeman came back. Oh no, the policeman probably went to the island. The policeman didn't do anything. He was probably having a great time.
Oh god, you're
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
Cheeky fuck.
No,
Can't believe
fucking policeman, man.
Well,
Yes.
speaking of the policeman, I see that's in Tristan's thumbnail. I guess he's got the police on there. So.
Oh
Is
no,
that just-
that's the thing. I don't have it on there. I just made it like a while ago, and I just thought it'd be fun.
There he is.
Zoop Moop, famous album from The Policeman.
Ah. Well, yeah, I was saying before, which order should we do? We want to go like one album per person or something like that,
We
or
could,
what
we
are
could do
thinking?
that. We could go like top down Caddicarus, like you, me, Tristan, like just vertically.
Yeah, sure, I can do
Alright.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives me time to psych myself up.
So if you guys have got one list for each other, then I might do like I don't know, because everything I've listed is alphabetical from artist, so it's not like there's any particular order. So I could always do.
For me, there's no.
I could always do
order.
like.
I
Okay,
think I'm
nice,
the only
cool.
person who ordered mine.
Oh
Yeah,
shit, cool.
I
Okay,
just
so
put,
yeah.
I just kind of put them on there, and when I hit 20, I'm like, all right, now we stop.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, what I might do to get through all my shit quicker is that I'll do first album and then I'll do my runner up and then my new find. So I kind of do
Alright.
3 back to back. I can be
Hell yeah.
brief. Don't worry. I can be brief.
Hey, that works.
All right.
I'm gonna be pretty brief too. I'm a little high.
I honestly don't plan on being brief, but we'll see what happens.
Hell yeah.
Well
Well,
then,
yeah,
well,
you
yeah, okay.
guys
So
are more
I have to
verbose.
be brief because I've got 30 to fucking like
Yeah,
90 to get
you've
through.
got-
So yeah,
you've got
you can
time.
ramble. You can ramble.
Personally,
It's
I
fine.
prefer to be boxers.
Yeah,
That's
fair
fair.
enough.
That is fair.
Boom.
Oh, speaking of which, before we get into it, I actually did I went onto the Loud Equals Funny subreddit. I posted a little Q&A thread. I also did the same on Twitter and the Caddicarus subreddit. So I have a good few questions if we ever like
Shit, I have a subreddit.
Yes.
yeah.
That's how
Actually,
I felt.
I asked the mods and they were like, "Yeah, this place isn't officially really like linked with Caddicarus, so whatever." do
Dude,
what you want."
how is it popular? I have no fucking clue.
That is a good
6,000 readers. I'm not sure how good that is in terms of Reddit.
That's
I don't
pretty
use
good.
it
That's
that much.
6,000 people.
Seems pretty
Nine
good.
people are looking at it now, including me.
Hey.
9. Look at that. 8 people just looking at something completely not affiliated with me. That's brilliant. No, I've never used Reddit. I don't use like the Chans or the Reddits or anything. I've
Yeah.
never been into that shit. So
All of us
yeah,
used
you
to
you
do-
guys, Godspeed. You want to talk about me and talk about how much you don't like my kids or something? Go for it. It's fine. Whatever. It's
Nah,
cool.
I've just been seeing people post funny bits from your videos.
I'm glad because
Yeah.
that's all I ever fucking wanted. I fell down that trap of making. I have an audience, therefore a responsibility. I fell down that trap and but then it distracts from what I actually am here to do. I'm not a fucking journalist. I'm not a politician. And if
Yeah.
people want to just meme me, fucking, I'd rather have that than everyone argue. I'd rather have that.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I also was like occasionally informed of stuff happening on my subreddit, and I was like, I don't use that subreddit, right? I've never been on there, and then eventually it got shut down right when I actually needed to use it for something that was on there and is now no longer on there. So, go figure.
Yeah.
Who
I think, like, the
posted that
person-
GIF? That's a great GIF, Tristan. Was that from the subreddit?
Yes, it's from the subreddit. It's from Cohen Hayner on the subreddit. So
You legend.
hey, here's
That's
looking
great.
out to you.
Brilliant
The-
reaction GIF.
The not racist award being revoked.
Yeah.
Classic moment.
Oh, that's a classic CAD move there. A classic CAD move.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, so who wants to start?
Well, I guess I can go. I have no order on my list. I
Yeah.
like this podcast, completely disorganized. I have a messy desk as well. Take that, liberals.
Yeah.
But just going through the list here, I guess I'll do it in the order that I have it here. We've got a dense swarm of ancient stars, It's an album by I Monster, and it's a very nice album from 2009. It's weird. I remember finding that album like a few years after it was, released, and getting really into it. And then I remember around 2019 being like, "Wow, I'm getting old. It's been 10 years since that album came out, and now it's been like 15 years or something."
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
it is sort of a well, shit. iMonster is a very confusing band to try to talk about because I had another album kind from like an offshoot of theirs on here before I replaced it, which was like a sort of synthy folk thing called the Skywatcher's Handbook. They've had fucking what would you say, like electro swing on their first album.
Yeah,
All
Their
right.
their second album, Never Odd or Even, is like a kind of electronica trip hop thing.
it's also probably their
Pro-
most. You've heard some of their songs
You've
from
heard
that.
Daydream and Blue. That one's pretty popular. There's a few other ones on there that are pretty popular. But my favorite one, yeah, it's their I guess their third album. Their fourth is also really good, and it's one of those bands that has like little leitmotifs that follow through, from one album to the next, and it's like, oh, it's that
Nice.
thing, yeah, their
I
third
love
album.
those.
Yeah, I like that sort of thing. Their third album has kind of a weird, vague storyline. They kind of all do, but the third one, they're all very like shrouded in like what exactly are they discussing. The third one has like a deadly swarm of insects, a pod people being taken to heaven, a vampire looking for lust on a hot night in June. It has all sorts of. It has Dear John, a man who abandoned his life of being an accountant to find love with a woman with a bunch of kids. A bunch of weird little stories, and all told through this kind of. It's like an electronic Beatles album. It's like one of the more psychedelic, like Sergeant Pepper, if it was more of like an electronic trip hop kind of thing.
That
So
sounds sick. That
yeah,
sounds sick.
a dense swarm of ancient stars. I really recommend it if you want to listen to a song, a single song from that album to kind of get a feel for it. I recommend Dear John. He spent a lifetime counting money. So long. It's a fun
And
song, and
that's from I Monster, right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's the letter I, not the organ.
the letter
Yeah.
I. Yes,
The Letter I, starring Will Smith.
exactly.
Yeah.
Also, as just like an aside, quickly, they also have an offshoot project. One of them, that's two guys in the band mainly. One of them has an offshoot that I really, really like called Regal Worm. It is more of a prog rock thing. It's kind of like a prog. It's not even really rock. It's just like I don't know what you would even say. It's just like very interesting music that kind of moves around, very synth based, and kind of moves around and does weird stuff. And it's if you like iMonster, you'd probably also enjoy that. So little
I
shout
have
out to
added
them
it to
as
my
well.
added it to my listen later. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
down with that.
yeah. Check out shit. What is it? It's their 2018 album, Pig Views. That's the name of it. That's my favorite one from them. So yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Who's up next? Caddy, I guess.
I can do some shit, yeah. So
Sure.
first I'm gonna just try and make shit as brief as I can. First pick of like this is when I go through my first picks, when I go through the three categories, this is like who I would consider me as a complete human in terms of my music, like just my taste, my everything. I guess I can't think I'd like the epitome of me and music kind of thing. So my first pick is Power Age, AC/DC, their fifth album, their first album to feature the potentially the best lineup of the band before Bon Scott died. And yeah, it's pre Highway to Hell, pre Back in Black. Obviously, Bon Scott wasn't in there because he was dead after Highway to Hell. But Power Age is just like fucking. When people say AC/DC and they like it, you get Thunderstruck and all that kind of stuff, the mainstreamier stuff. And I'm not into that stuff as much. Power Age is fucking raw in the same way like Let There Be Rock is raw. It's just just non-stop, like, angry, fast-paced blues music. It's really fucking sick.
I've never heard of any of these songs on here. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's okay. So this is exactly the thing. It's like, because it's not abrasive, but it's very raw, and it's not commercial at all. Highway to Hell is the bridging gap between like this AC/DC and then that AC/DC, and then after Back in Black, it kind of gets really mainstream. Then it basically becomes stadium rock, which I can't fucking stand at that point. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm done at this point. And then until maybe Black Ice, which was like 2010, then I was like, they came back. This is AC/DC. I know this band now. But yeah, Power Age, fucking sick album if you like that kind of shit. If I had to pick one track from it that exemplifies everything about it, Riff Raff, fucking amazing track. Down Payment Blues is good, but it's a little long for an introduction to that album. So I'd say Riff Raff. It kind of builds in, then it starts, and it just doesn't fucking stop for 4 minutes. It's an incredible track, and you'll be like, oh, I thought AC/DC weren't supposed to sound like this. Because everyone makes the joke that they do the same fucking 4 chords and they play the same song, and it's just not. Riff Raff is like legitimately a fucking banger, and well, every track on that album's a banger.
That's interesting, because I hear a lot of people denigrating AC/DC these days as being like generic dad rock without anything interesting, and it's like, I mean, I know I like, TNT and shit like that, but it's
TNT
like,
is the first album.
They've got stuff to them that's like, they've got talent, but at a certain point they became like kind of stadium rockish. So there's
and that's the shit I can't like. I think maybe when it stopped, like from maybe for those about to rock, that's when I fall off, and then like everything from the early mid 80s, well, basically from the mid 80s up until 2010, I'm just like, nah, I'm good, I'm fine.
I feel
but yeah, this is like but with the thing with AC/DC as well, to save myself from rambling too much, one of my favorite bands of all time. But when I've been drumming since I was 11, so I've been drumming a very long time, and AC/DC are the ideal band to start learning to drum to, not because it's easy, but because the feel is just sublime, and you really feel the feel in the earlier albums. It's just like there's so much groove to it, and it's completely underappreciated because I'll always remember this fucking moment. I was in music. A level is college for you guys. So I was in music college, or the end of high school, coming out of it was college. So I was in there, and then there was this guy who was he was younger than me, and he was a pretty good double bass pedal metal drummer. He was pretty good. He was in a band in the school and everything, but he was a couple of years below me. And then when it came to playing along to a couple of earlier AC/DC tracks, he could play the notes, but it just wasn't like there was no groove flowing through this dude's body. It was he was a very mechanical metal player. And it's like, and then when you get into some of the bluesier, really deep feeling guttural AC/DC shit, it's so, and that's Down Payment Blues is really good for that shit. It's like it oozes feel, and that's why I love that. I love the band, I love that album. And there's no fucking feel in Thunderstruck. There's no feel in most of the fucking mid-80s shit. The drummer changed, and most of the lineup kept swapping around, and you can tell. It's so obvious. Listen to Power Age and then listen to Thunderstruck, and you can tell the drummer is just not in the same fucking league. It's so obvious. But yeah, that's my first pick. I would say then after that, for the first of my runner-up picks is Biffy Clyro, Only Revolutions, because that's a surprising album to me. I don't know much Biffy Clyro at all, aside from this one album. And then Many of Horror came up, or whatever that fucking song's called. That one that got really big in the kind of late 2000s or early 2010s, whenever that was. And I thought that was like a gorgeous song. And then I went back through that whole album, and then it's like, oh, they can like fucking knock it out. Like they're not just feelsy, mainstreamy, like orchestral. That's a part of them, but they can also just fucking mash it out if they need to.
What exactly is the band? I've heard the name.
Yeah, it's if you found the track, I'm pretty sure it's Many of Horror. I'm pretty sure it's called Many of Horror. It's that or Collide. People get confused on the title. I'm 99% sure it's called Many of Horror. It's very, very, very famous. At least in the UK, it was a massive hit. And then it's one of those things, people listen to that track on the radio and then they never bought the album. And the funniest thing is that A, that's sad, and B, that track is not indicative of the whole album. The whole album goes all over the place, and it goes hard. It goes hard as it goes soft, and it was a massive like cut, like a shock for me. And it was just it's a good listen. So that's my first runner up. And then for newer finds, gonna sound weird because this isn't a band that's a new find for me, but the album is. ABBA, The Visitors, their final album before Voyage a couple of years ago. So this is like in the same way that maybe fucking Rumors by Fleetwood Mac is kind of the sound of a band breaking down. This literally is the sound of a band that's like fucking done with each other. And then they made this album in 1980. Bang, it was 81. I can't think, but they made this album and then just disappeared for like 30 years. And then they came back only recently, and I haven't even heard Voyage yet. But yeah, another band that get memed on. Even though Corey Taylor of Slipknot has endorsed them, which I find really cute and really funny.
Oh no, the fucking singer from Opeth, apparently he partied with like one of the ladies.
No way.
So I got into ABBA a little bit recently, not too much, but I downloaded some songs of theirs for Rocksmith for bass, because apparently they have really good bass lines. And I was not disappointed. What is the one? She does whatever she please. I forget the song, but it's good.
Yeah.
Really good
they've got
lines. Yeah.
They have got some really, really like unapologetically great tracks, and then like you think, oh, okay, they did write it all themselves, they performed it themselves, but like this album goes from like the band getting sick of each other, like there's songs about affairs and extramarital stuff going on in there, and then there's a song about the fucking Cold War in there, and it's just like track after track, banger after banger. The reason I put it in New Discoveries is because it's actually my fiance Keris's favorite ABBA album, and I'd never heard it before. I'd heard One of Us as a single before, but I hadn't heard any of the other tracks, and it's quite amazing, like how none of these became hits. Like the opening track is so good, and then you're like, oh, so everyone has to listen to Waterloo. Okay, that's weird. It's odd. But yeah, no, it's very much a kind of, it's a good bookend. It's a good final album of a band that are just fucking sick of each other. And yeah, it's like a very lonely, isolated album. And if you look online as well, which I found really fascinating, it was one of the few positively rated ABBA albums from the press at the time. And the funniest thing is that they were like, everybody kind of agreed that they were like, oh my god, they finally matured. And then they fucking disappeared.
Oh, so that's a shame.
And then they became, household, middle-aged mum staples for many years after that. But during the time, like, ABBA were pretty big, but they weren't very liked, I suppose is the way to put it. And this was like the first album where the UK press, at least, most of the UK press were like, oh god, we can take them seriously now. And then they just fucking broke up because they all hated each other.
This is the album with Head Over Heels. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
I started making a playlist with all of you guys' suggestions, so I'm gonna listen to this at some point.
Yeah, I would say I've completely forgot with Biffy Clyro. I guess either Many of Horror on Only Revolutions, or maybe The Captain, which is the opening track. And with this one, I'd say The Visitors, the opening track, is a very good indicator of what you're in for. And it doesn't sound like the ABBA you probably are thinking of. And I like albums like that, when you're like surprised. I like that shit. So yeah, that's those are my first three. Yeah.
I feel
nice.
Yeah. I guess I'll go with my first one. I'm gonna get the one that's probably got my controversial opinions out of the way. Faith No More's The Real Thing, which is...
How the fuck is that a controversial opinion, man? That's a sick album.
Hold on, hear me out. Because I was really conflicted, because Mike Patton is great, but I really wanted to do their first album with Chuck Mosley, because I really like Chuck Mosley too. So this was controversial for me, because it was really like a coin toss. But The Real Thing is an amazing album. Again, I'm being kind of short because I let the more verbose people talk. I'm not great at really describing things, but it's a fucking fantastic album that if you haven't heard it, like, all the way through, it's got fucking classics that should be classics. It's got Epic, which is a classic, which
It is.
it's a fantastic song, but
Yeah,
almost-
Epic's a classic. Yeah, that one was in. That was the one in San Andreas, right?
yes.
Yeah, and the music video has the fucking goldfish that they let out and they let out of the water, and then it kind of they slow down the footage so it looks like it dies, but then like if you look at behind the scenes, they grabbed it and put it straight back in the water, so everyone thinks the fish dies, and it's really sad.
Oh yeah, but you got
Yeah.
From Out of Nowhere, which is a fantastic song. That's the opener. You've got their cover of War Pigs at the end.
Yeah,
I've never
great
heard
one.
that.
It's a
It's so good.
It's really good.
Interesting.
It's
So
like,
good. In fact, actually, I was driving around earlier today, and Surprise You're Dead came on. That's a fucking banger.
It's such a good song.
Woodpecker from Mars is a great instrumental as well. Yeah, there's some gold on there. And you know what? I'm gonna just jump in and say that's not a controversial thing. I know within the Faith No More fandom it is to go, Chuck versus, Mike and everything. Nah,
Yeah.
I think I like the first album a lot. I think Patton makes the band stand out. If you ask me, that's my personal opinion.
I love them both. Also, Mr. Bungle's just a great band too. But
We're gonna get on, dude. We're gonna get on.
I been meaning to listen to more stuff like this. So yeah, no, I always get this band mixed up. What's the one that does Midlife Crisis? Is that also
That's
them?
Faith No More.
That's-
That's
yeah.
Faith No More. Yeah.
That's not on this one though. That's
It's
I guess
not.
on a later
no,
album.
it's a couple more albums in there.
Wait! Spoiler alert for one of mine later. Spoiler alert.
No.
I did see it on there. I was
Yeah,
not saying
no,
anything, but-
It's one of those bands, like one of those many bands. I'm sure we all have them, where it's like I've heard every song from them that I've heard, I've liked. I've just never bothered to listen to more of them or like listen to a full album or anything.
Yeah,
so.
that happens a lot with
Yeah,
me.
sure.
It happens a lot with me in pop music or stuff that's mainstream because I
yeah.
fell off I fell off like radio music and mainstream music as basically as soon as I became a teenager. But then every so often the kids will play something and I'm like, this is interesting, and then I actually dig into it, and that's gonna roll into another one of my picks later on. But like, yeah, no, there's gold out there still. But yeah, I know the feeling. You hear the one song and you're like, I like this, and then you don't bother looking into it.
I liked a lot of the stuff I heard in like the Barbie movie. Like I should probably listen to some Dua
There's some good
Lipa
stuff
or
in there
something.
too. Yeah.
But, I
That's
just
a
don't
fucking. That was
bother.
the best movie of last year. Fucking hilarious.
a
I
great
loved
movie,
that. Loved that movie. Loved it.
But yeah,
Tristan.
Tristan.
All right, I guess it's my turn. So for my first one, I put them more or less in order. I mean, some of them might be a little higher or lower depending on how I feel, but this is pretty solidly my favorite album. It's Earth Boiling Dystopia by Scythe Lord. Thrash metal, really good
Full
stuff.
album. Did a YouTuber give it to you?
Hey, shut up.
If you're not
Well, yeah,
familiar,
it's,
this is the Joel Vinesauce band, right?
Yeah, Joel and oh geez, Mike does drums and
Cozy.
yeah, oh geez, I
God damn it,
completely forgot the other the rhythm guitar.
Frank, right?
Frank, yes,
Yeah.
Joel, Frank, and Mike does drums, but yeah, it's really good. Thrash metal, almost like bordering on prog metal. The only thing is I really can't just single out a single track to listen to because it all just goes so well together. The best track, my favorite, is The Other, which is track 7, and it's essentially entirely it is entirely instrumental, and it has this like really nice kind of almost Wild West kind of vibe. It's really good. And then there's Just a Memory that comes right before it, which is really punky, and it's entirely in Swedish.
Oh, nice.
It's
So
really
so when
fucking
you say that, you mean Joel talking normally then?
essentially, yeah.
No, it's
Well,
one of his April Fool's streams that's just entirely in Swedish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what's gonna happen? We're gonna look this band and this album up, and it's just gonna be the fucking Ghostbusters MIDI shit that he did.
No, it is. I listened to. I don't know if it was this one. I think it might have been his other album. Oh, it was Toxic Minds. I listened.
Toxic
to
Minds
of.
is really good, but Earth Boiling Dystopia is just on another league.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
haven't heard
good.
this one. This is all you mentioned. It's kind of proggy, so I'm instantly, interested. And I remember liking what I've heard from him, but it's a little more aggressive than I tend to go for usually with a lot of the metal I like. Not always,
fair.
but you know.
I also wanted to take this time to publicly apologize to Vinny from Vine Source. I had dinner with him a couple of weeks ago in Washington DC, and he was talking about Scythe Lord, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. It's in my listen later." But now you've mentioned it. Now I am now making an extra conscious effort to fucking listen to it.
Me and Vinny, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you if you don't listen to Joel.
I'll do, yeah. This is I'm making a whole list of, I called it pod picks, and it's got all you guys' stuff. So
Yeah.
If I were to if I really had to recommend one song to like really get a feel for the rest of the album, I guess Equanimity, track 3. I mean, it's definitely not the best song on the album, but it does kind of have that general single kind of vibe.
okay.
Like Sky is Falling, track 1 kind of goes into Wireframe, and Rod of Asclepius is. I prefer the demo version of that one personally, but even then, that's also a good pick, track 4.
Yeah,
but
this is all going in my playlist.
Yeah, I personally recommend the entire album, but if you had to pick one, either Equanimity
I
or
think we
Rod of
should just like
Asclepius.
assume from the basis of us picking our top albums, maybe like, because I would consider a top album to be every track is listenable, or at least you like every single track.
One
so
of my metrics was no skips, but
no
like
flops.
some can be more pop. Like, okay, if there's like skits on an album, that's fine. Like you just maybe
Or
skip,
there's
a
like an
30-second
introduction.
thing.
That's
Yeah.
something I noticed about Slipknot, is that every album begins with like noise for 2 minutes. I was like, does that mean
Like-
it's a song? Like, no, it's not. You can just...
No, a lot of rap albums will have that too. So it's
Yeah.
yeah.
I like the metalness of the song titles, like Rod of Asclepius. It's a good,
that
good
one
title.
has some banger lyrics.
That's
Comedy
a
of
very
Blood.
That's a very like what is it? The Castle of Gingledoof. It's very very Gingledoof.
If you look at Toxic Minds, like there's album titles like Masquerade of Hate, Warlord, The Flail of God, Palace of Glass, Bloodshed at Dawn, War at Sanity's End. Like, this is good names.
I like the simplicity of Speed Metal War, the closer on Toxic Minds.
Oh
That's
yeah,
great.
that one's I think that was a bonus track.
Yeah. All right, I'll have to check out some Scythe Lord. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Also, by the way, Caddy, I noticed the last one on your main picks, and I like the last one on your Cad's.
I saved the best for last. That, you know what? You can say that you can say everything's alphabetized, and yes, it just so happens the best is last, and it is also the last alphabetically. I don't make the rules. That's God. God is playing mysterious tricks
spoilers,
right now.
People, stay around.
Yeah,
for
no
the
spoilers.
Whole podcast.
You gotta stick around. It's his last one.
Oh yeah.
All right. Do we want to, I guess, continue the order, or do we
How about
want to
we
still
do
go
a
in like
question
alphabetically?
in between like cycles?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Clever. Fuck.
Hell yeah.
Tristan,
All right,
wanna...
so here's one from Melis or Mel. Do you have any favorite jazz artists?
Jazz artists. I mean, not jazz artists specifically. A couple of my picks in this streamy thing we're doing is you're gonna hear elements of it, but not full blown. But then, what was it? There was an album and it goes so fucking hard. I think it was a Miles Davis record, and I can't remember the name of it. But it's like, it's almost thrash metal jazz. It just fucking goes.
No, I know what you mean. I don't know. Was it Bitches Brew?
No, wait a minute. I'm gonna find it. But then, like, as a drummer, fucking Buddy Rich, not technically an artist, but like just like the people that I watched when I was a kid and was like, yep, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. So yeah, like, not technically a jazz artist, but I need to find it. It was a live album. It was a live album. I gotta find it. Dark Magus. That's it. Dark Magus.
Dark
That's
Magus.
cool
I haven't heard that one.
Dark
that
Magus.
sounds like a song off of Scythe Lord.
Okay,
Yeah.
seriously, Dark Magus, track 1 of Dark Magus, 1977. It's like, you think, it's gonna be ploopity ploopity, like Miles Davis on his trumpet, and then it's like, it just fucking smashes the whole house down. It's so fucking good. So good.
Nice.
I'm gonna put that on the list too, actually.
The only reason I will just say spoilers, it hasn't made any of my lists, but that's because I've only heard track 1, so I haven't heard the rest of it. But track 1 on its own, worth the album, I would consider it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We'll continue with that. Next up, I've got Philharmonics by Agnes Obel. She's sort of, I don't know what you, she's kind of a folk artist, but she plays the piano and she sings, and but she's kind of like a pop folk thing, sort of, but it's some of the most dark music I'd ever heard up to that point. I mean, talking about like like black metal or something, that's all fine, but there's something about the way that her piano and the accompanying cello and occasional other like string instruments and such are recorded. That just it's a lot more pronounced on her second album, Aventine. Very bleak sounding album. It sounds cold. There's brief moments that are very nice, but one of them is a song about like death, so that's an interesting choice. But that's the second album. This first one is a little more like radio accessible. It's got her most popular song, Riverside, which is, yeah, it's just kind of a simple like piano folk kind of thing. It's a much simpler album than the second one, but there's just something about the title song, Philharmonics, which is what I would say is like go listen to this one. That just like really stands out. It's a song about like some kind of beggar in the medieval era who like kills her evil master or something. Some weird kind of shit. I don't even know. There's a song about a beast that like ravages the woman. It's very interesting imagery.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Some of it, there's some really good instrumental stuff. Again, it's all this kind of dark piano and light, accompanying string stuff. And there's the vocal songs. She's singing as well, and she has a very lovely voice. I would really recommend her second album as well. I don't much care for her third and I think fourth album, because she started doing this thing with her voice where she would like pitch it down at points, and it just is very odd and like uncanny valley a little bit. Like, I don't know.
Is it a bit Dark Bowser Jr. or not like that?
A little bit, yeah. It's not great. I mean, it's not to that level, obviously, but it's like it just sounds like somebody, yeah, with like a weird down pitched voice changer. It doesn't work very well for me. There's a lot of good stuff on those albums, but every time she brings back the like down pitched voice, I don't know why she does it. I think that's on both of the newer ones, but the first two, there's also a song on the like deluxe edition of the second album. I know I'm talking more about the second album. The first one's great. I think I'm talking more about the second one though, because like I don't know. I guess both of them I would say, but I would recommend the first one just because it's like a little more accessible. But the second album,
good starter, yeah.
Yeah, the second one is interesting though. It has a song on the bonus edition, which is like a remix by David Lynch, of all fucking people. Yeah, I wasn't aware that I know he has like musical stuff now, but like, yeah, at the time I was like, wait, there's a remix wait, what? That David Lynch? Yeah, it's that David Lynch. He's got a remix on the second album. The first one, yeah, it's a little less oppressively dark and like miserable. The first one is. There's moments of that. It gives you a little taste of that, but for the most part, it's just kind of a nice piano folk record, and I definitely recommend it. I think she's like a weirdly popular artist. She has millions and millions of listens on Spotify, like hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
But like, and occasionally I hear people who like her, but like she's not. I don't know. I never hear much about her. She's never like super mentioned that much. I don't know. I don't know why that is. I think that she's fantastic. So yeah, Philharmonics, and the second one, Aventine, as well. I guess start with the first one. Yeah.
I've added it in. Yeah, this is exciting. I feel like a teenager discovering music again. This is great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, because there's band like Biffy Clyro's one that you've mentioned, or that you put on yours, and I've heard that one mentioned so many times over the years, but I've just never bothered to.
The thing is, like, I can't speak on. That's the problem, is that I can only speak on behalf of that album. I don't know, because I remember them being a little bit, when I was a teenager, they were kind of, it was like the softy shit, I suppose. Like if it wasn't mainstream and it wasn't emo, so it was kind of like it just kind of existed, I suppose, in the same way like a
Wilco or something.
yeah, maybe like a not a Nickelback that wasn't embarrassing kind of thing, I suppose. But like based on that album alone, it incredible album. So yeah, like
okay.
but yeah, no, it's weird though. Yeah, like I think it's just because there's just so many more people doing music now. What year is that album, Claw? What the one that you recommended?
That one is 2010, 2011, I think, and then her second one is I think 2013.
Yeah, I think you'll find that a lot with anything in the like 2010s onwards. You'll find pockets. It's almost like niche celebrity kind of status for some people, like the kind of people where they have that hardcore ride or die fan base, but then you'll ask somebody who they are and they're like, who, you know, we just live in those times. Everybody's got an album nowadays. It's
interesting that you didn't you didn't know you hadn't heard of her, Caddy, because she's very popular in Denmark, and I mean maybe over here we might not get much of that, but no, I guess just not even outside of that area in like Europe, it doesn't really extend that far. She's like super popular in Denmark, where she's from.
It's you know what, I think that's a European thing more than because like I know it's easy to lump UK and Europe together because we're so close to each other, and then we decided no, we want blue passports, no more of that. So and then we left it, but either way, it's like you'd be surprised. I'm good friends with Johnny Gioeli from Crush 40, and he has another.
Nice.
He has that's another fucking story. I can go into that at some other point. Not this stream, but that fucking lovely human being, absolute darling. I was texting him yesterday. He's a sweetheart, but he's the front man of another band called Hardline, and Hardline are like, you know, traditionally like 80s hard rock, not stadium, but hard 80s rock. They had a track in the Peacemaker show. I think it's HBO.
Yeah.
They had a track in there, and I was watching the show and we were listening to it, and I was listening to like the voice. I was like, that's either Bon Jovi or Johnny, because they have a very similar voice, but it was too hard to be Bon Jovi. So I was like, dude, was that you? And he was like, oh yeah, like that was it. They paid me like per second, like to use the Hardline music. But the funny thing that you mentioned with her being a big deal in Denmark is the Hardline, the Johnny's actual other band, they are fucking like not even quantifiably massive in Europe, but like no other country is like, oh yeah, Hardline, you know. But like if you go to Poland or anywhere like that, they are gods, you know. It's so weird.
Oh yeah,
it's so
I've
weird.
got a band on here later. One of my next few ones here, from the UK. You might know of them. Mainly known in France for some weird reason. They're like hugely popular in France. I don't know what's up with that.
It's kind of like how in the 80s there was a lot of United States artists would go real big in Japan.
That's true, yeah.
Japan,
and then there was a band literally called Big in Japan.
Yeah.
And another band called Japan. Yeah.
Exactly. And
they were big, and they were also big.
They were probably big in Japan.
Japan were big in Japan with Big in Japan.
Oh, that's the ultimate tour in Japan.
In Japan. Oh man.
So next I guess is you, Caddy.
Okay, shit. Wait, let's okay, so back over to my first list. Okay, second pick of who I am as a musical person. Smile, the Beach Boys. The album that fucking broke Brian Wilson and forever ruined his brain. It's the album that was a response to Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles when they were having their kind of faux rivalry, and Sgt. Pepper was so incredible to Brian Wilson, the bass player / lead songwriter / backing vocals of the Beach Boys. It was so amazing to him that it just destroyed and turned his brain into soup. And then he ended up having a couple of birthday cakes a day for breakfast. And he just fucking lost his mind. And then Beach Boys kind of fell apart. Mike Love took over. Then that's when Kokomo fucking happened. And then the final album, Summer in Paradise, which is one of the worst albums ever made.
I've been watching Vinny for years. I know his hatred for Mike Love, and because of that, I've learned That's one of the main things. My dad loved Beach Boys, so I heard a lot of it, and it's very nostalgic for me. And I've been
Yeah.
meaning to listen to more. There's a video from a channel called oh shit, what's his name? Yeah, hang on, I gotta find his name. Beach Boy. I'll just look up Beach Boys, and it'll probably come up for me.
Yeah.
No, it's not happening. God. Oh,
Okay,
Elliot Roberts. He had a video from a month ago called "The Beach Boys Love You," Brian Wilson's 1977 synth pop oddity, and it was a very interesting video that taught me a lot about Brian Wilson as a person. Yeah, fucking God, yeah, no, Smile. I gotta listen to that. That's absolutely going on the list. Hell yeah.
It's another one of those albums as well where it's like when you say Beach Boys, you think I Get Around, you think like you think all the big stuff, but then like I even find that people don't know Help Me Rhonda, which is like one of their best early songs. I fucking love Help Me Rhonda. So like it's like when you're thinking I Get Around and you're thinking Surfing USA, but then when you play fucking like Do You Like Worms from Smile, it's like this isn't the Beach Boys. Holy shit, what is this? And you just don't know what the hell you're listening to. Smile is where Good Vibrations came from, which by all accounts is probably their best song, and it also doesn't sound like any other. Yeah, most people love Good Vibrations, but if you compare Good Vibrations to any other massive Beatles hit, it's not even the same. Beach Boys, sorry, hit. It's not even the same band. So but the funny slash interesting thing about this album specifically, Sergeant Pepper was 67, I think, or 66, 60, I think it was 67, but I think 66, 67, they did like 10 albums in that period. So yeah, like it was around there, and then Smile was meant to be a response, and then it just never happened because Brian Wilson had all these ideas and so many melodies and shit running around in his head, and he just couldn't put it down to words, and Mike Love was fighting him every fucking step of the way because he didn't want to lose the success of the band. Plus, Mike Love is Mike Love. He is who he is. Whenever you look up, it's one of my favorite lines. I think Todd in the Shadows did a video about Summer in Paradise, and he mentioned he was looking at this this biography or autobiography or something about the Beach Boys' journey and Brian Wilson, and he mentions that it meant like the book goes into detail about Brian Wilson's abusive dad, and then Brian Wilson's like manipulative, money bleeding, abusive therapist, and then Charles Manson pops up in the Beach Boys history, and then Mike Love comes out worse than all of them.
Yeah.
And he's like nobody likes Mike Love. It's quite amazing. But yeah, so
when,
essentially
Charlie Manson looks like the good person of a situation compared to
it's so funny because it's so funny. But but the funny thing is that with Smile, it never came out. It never released. It was supposed to come out.
It says here 2011 on Spotify.
Because it was all the recordings on Spotify. You have to kind of condense it to the ideal listening experience, which means cutting out the 60 alternate takes that Spotify and Apple Music give you. But when you have because it's a concept album, so you have to try and piece it together yourself in a weird way, but essentially it never came out. So all these tracks were just floating around in the void for years and years and years. Surf's Up is another great one. That's my favorite track of that album. I would recommend listening to Surf's Up if you want a good idea of what Smile sounds like. One of my favorite songs ever written, actually. But yeah, I'd say listen to Surf's Up. And Good Vibrations, everybody knows, that's from Smile as well. But the album never came out, and then it took until 2011 for people to actually fucking piece it back together, and that's why now all of these pieces. Interestingly, though, there is another version of Smile, which was 2004, and it's called Brian Wilson Presents Smile, which was when Brian Wilson in 2004 got together as many people as he could to recreate the album. And that in its own right is incredible. Because it's basically a more modern sounding version of that album. So you've got the 2004 Brian Wilson version, and then you've got the 1966 to 67 rawer, more experimental, weirder sounding version, and both are great in their own ways. But yeah, it's a trip. I think the concept of the album is that it's basically a road trip across America, and it goes into like themes of the colonizers and the Native American tribes being steamrolled over by the West, and it goes in all these different interesting topics, and then Like it's an album that feels like that. It starts off jolly, it goes dark, it goes up, it goes down. Then there's a song about this famous fire that broke out, I think in California, I can't remember, but Mrs. O'Leary's Cow. That's a great track. That's just instrumental, and it is like the most stressful fucking instrumental ever written. It's about a town burning down, and it's a true story. And it's like, oh, it's fucking heavy. But yeah, like the harmonizing and everything. It's a fucking gorgeous album. It's really interesting listen.
And that's on the 2004 version?
It's on both. Mrs.
Oh.
O'Leary's Cow is on both of them, and they. That's the thing. It depends if you want a sound that's a bit more mono and a bit more, old school, or you want the like way more polished version of it in the 2000. But they're both great in their own way. So yeah, I would say that. For my second runner-up, I have Silent Alarm by Block Party. Which I think a couple of people would probably know from Guitar Hero 3, the song Helicopter.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And that is one of the songs I wish I wrote. It's one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. Like, it's incredible. But yeah, proper London sounding 4-piece band. It sounds like the whole album is like they are in the room with you. When you get it, I've got it on vinyl. When you get a good sound setup with it, it's like they're playing in front of you. It's just got that sound to it. And it's just, again, one of those albums, it has ups and downs, but when it goes like fuck, and it's just so, like, I guess that's the idea with the album title, Silent Alarm. It's not silent at all. It's a complete juxtaposition. But yeah, it's proper good. I would say borderline punk, like English, like traditional English punk, but in the 2000s. It's like, it's just got this really great energy to it. The accent, they sing it in the accent of London, so it's a Londoner singing it, and it sounds really unique. There's not much that sounds like Block Party, so that would be my runner up on there. And then for newer finds, Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette. I'd never heard the album. I'd never heard any tracks from the album. And then Karis, my fiance, was like, "Oh, I used to listen to this when I was a teenager." And I was like, she's like, "I thought you'd might like it." And then she played You Ought to Know, and I was like, "Oh, I like this. This is fucking cool." This is like, oh yeah, if someone breaks up with you, you make this fucking song. Yeah, that's sick. So yeah, I can't say it because it's a newer discovery for me. I kind of have to keep listening to it over and over again. But like Mary Jane's a great track. You Ought to Know is probably my favorite track from that record. So yeah, I'd say You Ought to Know from Jagged Little Pill. I need to listen to it more to have more to say about it. Then with Smile, probably Surf's Up or Good Vibrations, and then the Block Party one, maybe. Luno or Helicopter. Both tracks are a good introduction to it. Yeah, that's my seconds.
Okay.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
I am about to pull up mine after this, but yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say that's another, you mentioned it's like a punk sort of thing. That's another genre I don't listen to that much, so like that's interesting to me. That might get me a little more into it,
That's because of the establishment, man. They didn't want you to hear it, man.
Well, what's funny, speaking of the establishment, GTA 5 has one of the best punk stations. It's just all this, like, heavy thrash fucking punk stuff. Like,
Hell yeah.
it's like really hardcore punk. Probably not really hardcore, but it's, it's stuff that I didn't know that, I don't know. I guess I have a weird idea of what punk is or whatever. So yeah, listen to some.
Punk is an interesting thing because like everyone assumes like punk is like before it became commercialized and it was like, oh, it's the mohawk and the studs and the UK flag. That's not punk. Punk is I'm gonna do what I want to do and I don't give a fuck what you think. That's what punk is. So punk could mean. Basically, most post-punk bands don't sound like punk, but it's the same idea of like before new wave kicked in, it was like a load of that shit could be considered basically punk, like Adam Ant and all that stuff. It's almost bordering punk because it's so confident in how much of a fuck it doesn't give, which is what the whole idea with punk was to begin with, and that's what it is. So it's not about the mohawk and the studs, and it's not even about standing out. It's about if you want to have a mohawk and you want to look like that and you don't care, fucking go for it. But people have conflated that into punk means doing that on purpose, and it's not. It's punk is it's a guttural feeling, I suppose. So yeah.
Which kind of leads to my next pick, which is Death Grips of a Money Store, which I consider.
There you go.
I consider Death Grips to be punk. I consider them to be.
I keep
Yeah.
hearing the name. I hear the name all the time. I'd never check them out. I'm gonna have to now.
Death
A lot
Grips
of
has
people,
a great albums.
a lot of people have said that Death Grips is very punk hip hop kind of thing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember hearing Money Store and not really liking it, but then it was like 10 years ago, and I've never given it a second chance. But that was like the big meme album like a decade ago.
It kind of was. MU kind of conflated it a lot more than probably it should have been, but they're really good. I think their most punk album probably is Government Plates, but Money Store is kind of very well rounded. It starts off strong, ends strong. The song I'll recommend for people to listen to, the most popular song on this album is I've Seen Footage, but I'll actually recommend Fuck That by Death Grips.
Oh, yeah.
They have some great fucking
Oh,
titles,
you don't even know. The next track is called "Bitch Please."
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we like.
I'll recommend Death Grips because it's
I love Death Grips.
they're fucking wild. But yeah.
Well, they were the one who had an album that was
No Love, Deep Web.
yeah, there's just one of the guys' dick.
Yeah,
with,
it's
like,
I think it's the
Sharpie
drummer's
written
dick.
on it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
Yeah.
pretty based.
The pixelated album cover is the one on Spotify.
Yeah, they're gonna do that. Oh, and it's still very clearly what it is. That's good.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not even the more because they have a more pixelated, like just a straight up black barred version, but it's a pixelated version on that one.
Yeah, it's the very fleshy pink one. Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? Like that was the big thing with Nevermind with the baby's dick, wasn't it? And it was like
Yeah.
I think when people started getting up in arms about it, Kurt Cobain was like, "Okay, I'll remove the dick." Like, you know, it's there. It's a baby. It has a penis. If you're that obsessed about it, maybe you need to be looked at. Maybe there's something wrong with you. Maybe the police need to get involved. Because why do you care that much? So yeah, it's I kind of like that. Like, because if you can clearly tell what it is, what the fuck's the point at that? At that point.
Yeah.
Every time that somebody censors a swear word and it's like, oh gee, I wonder what he said there.
I'll
Gee,
post the
what could it have
3
been?
variations of a cover of a call, so you guys can see.
Do you know the black bar one is probably the best one in terms of what is going on, but the pixelated one, there's no point, absolutely no point.
Yeah. Well, there's no point. You can't even see the text on it anymore. It ruins the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very pink knob. What is going on with that?
I don't know. He's
That has never
fucked some
seen the
strange
sunshine.
bitches.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
I gotta listen to this.
you piqued my interest.
It's
Yeah,
a great album.
The dick piqued his interests.
Yeah, oh, it did. It did.
Yeah, Money
I have nothing but respect for someone who can just, because the dude had to get a little bit, he's not pushing rope or anything there. He's like he's not quite, fully there, but he's enough there where it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the story behind that photo? And like, just to proudly push it forward. I respect that shit.
I mean, I've used the
it's gotta be
Sharpie on...
difficult to write on the dick, with the Sharpie, keeping hard and everything.
Well, I mean, if
Yeah,
you use the
I know.
Sharpie on skin, it kind of burns if you're like, if you're sensitive to like markers or anything, it fucking hurts. But you gotta be a little rough. You gotta push in a little bit with it. You can't really.
I figured it out. That was the beginning of that person that dyed their skin in Sharpie in the bathtub. That furry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
I just
that's
wanted to recreate the album cover, and it went.
Yeah, and they were like, "Well, you know what? I kept making mistakes. I kept having to rub bits out, and then by the time you've started rubbing one bit out, it just ends up, all the way up your thigh, and then it ends up on your arm, and then you're like, okay, I'm a furry now. Fuck it."
You know what that story reminds me of? That the Rachel Dolezal lady, the lady who tried to like fake her race, say she was black. That lady.
Oh my god.
Who now no longer has a job because she's OnlyFans. And it's not allowed apparently.
We covered a story of hers story about her recently where she had a job as a teacher, but she got an OnlyFans, and they finally found out and fired her for it. Which
that's happened. That's happened a few times. That's happened a few times.
Honestly, the biggest problem wasn't that she had OnlyFans. It was Rachel Dolezal teaching.
Yeah.
It was a pretty bad role. Well, Death Grips is definitely one I got to listen to more of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tristan.
All right. Well, next one, basically my second favorite album. Once we start going further into the list, since we're doing one artist only, it's gonna be like, oh, this is my 14th favorite album, but it's actually number like 6 or something.
Yeah.
But my second favorite album, Queen 2. Can you guess who that's by? Can you
Fucking
fucking
hell,
guess
dude.
who that's by?
Fuck
You
yeah.
okay?
I love the Beatles.
I don't use this word often, and I do not use it with complete sincerity when I do. But I will say, fucking based, dude. Jesus
Hell
Christ.
yeah.
Queen 2. Like I'm spoiler. I've got a Queen album somewhere in my list somewhere, and I was debating. But I was debating between the one I picked and Queen 2. Queen 2 is such a good album.
It's great. It is. I think. Well, that's the thing with Queen. They're basically top of the chain when it comes to prog rock.
Yeah,
And I feel
nobody
bad
really
calling.
nobody considers them that. They'll listen to Bohemian Rhapsody, they'll listen to the Prophet song, they'll listen to all of that, and they'll never consider that they're actually prog rock. And they're Queen 2 and the first album are very like. There's what's the song? There's like one about fairies or something.
Yeah, there's well, Queen 2 has Ogre Battle in it, and
which is where that series comes from. Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, no, you're completely right, and it's weird that like again, it's much like how I was saying about like ABBA, The Visitors, and AC/DC Powerade. It's almost mainstream is just really. I'm not gonna, because people rely on mainstream success to then fund what they really want to do, but it's I don't have much respect for mainstream taste, and it's like. Yeah, like Don't Stop Me Now is great. Don't get me wrong, Bohemian Rhapsody is great. I get it, but like, go to the early shit because that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's fucking interesting. You want to see you want to hear Freddie Mercury screaming at the top of his lungs while doing ballet, and then Brian May and everyone else just like shredding in the background. You don't want Radio Gaga. Like fucking hell. I like Radio Gaga, but but the difference is night and day. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Honestly. There are some heavy songs on like The Miracle and Innuendo and stuff like that, but honestly, I think as a whole, this is probably their heaviest album.
Yeah, and thematically it is as well. What's it, Father and Son or Father to Son or something like that?
Yeah.
That's a heavy one. That's a heavy one.
I remember
it's really good.
When I first heard Night at the Opera, I was just really. Because all the popular ones. I mean, obviously Bohemian Rhapsody's on that album, but like, all the popular ones. But then the first song on that album, Death on Two Legs.
I like Death on Two Legs a lot.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good.
It's really heavy, and like it was a surprise for me, so I got more.
And then
Prophet's song is like crazy,
I really wish they got to finish it.
Was it not finished?
Yeah, like they got it to a state where it was like, yeah, okay, we can release this, but it wasn't like the vision that they all had, I forgot.
It's so funny because
Brian May.
Kind of peters.
I remember with Night of the Opera specifically. I mean, I'll go into this with my shit later, but I've never been a Queen guy at all. And then like everyone around me was saying, you got to listen to Night of the Opera. It's a masterpiece. Best thing. If you look at like tabloids, reviews, critical reception, 5 stars across the whole board, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, okay, well, obviously Bohemian Rhapsody is a classic. So then I get Death on Two Legs. I'm like, oh shit, why isn't this in any best of fucking albums?
Yeah, I know, right?
And then it fucking goes to I'm in love with my car, and I nearly threw the fucking album out the window. And I was like, why are people saying that this is a 5-star album?
No,
this is shit.
You don't like it? That's a great song. That song's great. It's a classic.
I'm personally not that big on much of Roger Taylor stuff.
I love him. He's a great singer. I was gonna say everybody
you guys,
shit.
but it's funny watching Claudius.
Everybody talks shit about, or everybody says about how Freddie Mercury's such a great singer, but nobody talks about 39 and what a great voice Brian May has.
39 is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I just don't want to hear about a guy fucking his car. That's all. I'm fine.
Fine, but
I don't want to know about Roger Taylor's feel for his automobile.
I guess fine,
but yeah, like, and going back to Queen 2, like it's if it weren't for how good A Night at the Opera and Innuendo are, I would easily call this their best, like quality wise. But like when it comes to prog rock, I mean, but like even still, this is my favorite. I think that it doesn't have any flops. It's fantastic. If I had
Oh,
to
Evermore!
recommend
You've
a
just
song,
Evermore! Fucking, I just remembered Evermore. That's a great track. Oh,
yeah,
good. I'm gonna listen to that album again. It's a good album.
it's really hard to come up with a single track to listen to because basically most of the track is just medleys. Like you have
Yeah.
Procession to Father and Son to, and then you have a White.
Yeah,
I
it's almost
forgot
telling a
the-
story, isn't it? It's actually like
Yeah.
you're opening a book, isn't it? It's a weird one. In fact, the vinyl I've got an original print vinyl from the year it came out, and it opens
Ooh,
up
nice.
vertically. And
Yeah, I have a
that's
reprint.
rare. Yeah, it's
I
really
have a
weird for.
reprint and it does that.
Yeah,
Same
it's
with News of
weird.
the World actually.
Oh, well, I
Yeah, it
mean, News of the
opens
World.
up.
That's kind of a newspaper. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, like, yeah, it's
It
odd.
shows the big robot guy kind of reaching into a crowd and picking people out.
They made a Family Guy episode about that.
Yeah,
A whole
but
episode about that album cover.
it is a pretty freaky album cover if you really look at it.
It is very freaky. It's very awful.
Added Queen 2.
But if I had to suggest a single song, March of the Black Queen is the best song on the album, I think, for sure.
Hmm.
It's a bit hard to get into, I guess, I suppose. It's a very weird song. Also, the N word is said, so that's
Oh wow!
Oh shit!
Oh,
the only Queen song with a slur.
Well, do you know what? Like Freddie Mercury's Indian, right? So you know,
Yeah, I feel like
maybe
you
he
get
had,
away with that.
maybe he thought he had a pass. I don't know. Like I don't want. It was a different time. I mean, John Lennon did that as well, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
oh,
The woman is the N word of the world.
I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
That's a good one.
Hmm.
That one was Yoko's choosing, I believe. I think she came up with that one.
I wouldn't doubt it. But if I had to choose one song, March of the Black Queen, honestly, if you have more than just like 5 or 6 minutes to spend on the song, the entirety of the Black side, the side 2,
Yeah.
it's just really really good.
Hmm.
It's basically
Yeah.
entirely Freddie Mercury too.
Yeah, it's funny actually. I'm looking at the track list and it says the writer for everything from Side Black is Mercury. Like they're all him.
And then Cy White, it's just like 4 Brian May songs. And then yeah, Roger Taylor can have a song too. Nothing for John Deacon though.
Hmm.
What a shame.
And apparently there's little quotes here from the band talking about their own album, and it didn't sound like any of them liked it, which I think is a shame.
Yeah,
But then
it's very
Brian
strange.
May doesn't like anything. Brian May doesn't like anything, so it's fine.
Yeah,
I've heard him talk about
it's-
Bohemian Rhapsody pretty proudly, but yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm sure he
I
does.
think a lot of it's just hindsight for him. Just like, oh, I could have
Yeah.
done that better, which
Yeah,
is
I know
fair.
how that feels.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Queen 2, great
Good
fucking
pick.
album.
Good pick.
And next we have, I guess, a question.
All right, let me
Yes,
find
we do.
one. We have from Chunky Hunky Monkey 69. Great name.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Pretty good.
Favorite lesser known albums.
Well, that's most of my list.
I mean, yeah, like, okay, when it comes to questions like that, shall we, like, kind of, like, not skip them being rude, but, like, shall we, like, because there are going to be
Yeah.
albums that people haven't heard of in our lists, so,
Yeah.
you will find out. As we go
Yeah.
on, you will find out.
Yeah,
I will
you'll
say
find it.
there's one artist that is not listed here that I have that's that I like. That's not on my list, but it's Ars Nova. They're difficult to find because there's like a few. First of all there's like a period historically called Ars Nova, I guess, and there's like a few bands that have called themselves that, but they're a Japanese prog rock band from like the 90s. Almost all female and mostly instrumental except for a few of their albums. But they distinctly they basically sound like Castlevania and Final Fantasy boss music most of the time. Occasionally they sound like Castlevania level music or
Nice.
something like that, but mostly it's a lot of the time it's really discordant and whatever. They have like very very few followers on Spotify, so yeah, there's one. They're also difficult to find because they're like yeah, there's a bunch of other shit named Ars Nova. So yeah, it's the Japanese one.
Well, I guess we can go for another question if we want to save that for later then.
Just
Sure.
before you go into the other question, this is going to sound really odd and out of context, so I apologize. Going back to the use of the N word in Queen, right? So
Yeah. We're listening.
Concerning the N
You have our
word.
attention.
it's a very controversial word for many people. So I there was this story in my Patreon Discord. Somebody I'm not going to name names just in case whatever. But like somebody mentioned how I didn't know about this, but there was not a System of a Down specifically, but a Serj Tankian cross Wu-Tang Clan song that they did, which I didn't know about.
Oh,
It's called it's called Shame, and it's basically Wu-Tang Clan featuring Serj, and in that song, this is 2005, so like BYOB time, and in that song Serj says the N-word and screams it a fair, maybe I don't know how many times, but like it's said by him. And then I just thought like, oh, that's a bit of history I didn't know about. And then this person in my Discord said apparently what it was almost like is that it wasn't that he was given a pass by the band, he was given a demand by the band.
Oh, nice.
And I'm not sure how true that is, but the idea, like, there's something incredibly funny to me about Wu-Tang Clan giving you an N-word demand, not an N-word pass. I don't know. That's funny.
I saw a live show from them where they were in they were in like some, I don't know, Eastern European country. It was like Croatia or something. And so basically all crackers in the audience. And they were just like, now there's a word that's used in this song. They were about to do shame on a fella. And they were like, there's a word used in this song. You can all say it. It's just a rite of, it's fine. It's just like, it's a rite of passage. Go ahead. It's fine. You can all sing along. So kind of there you go. There's the.
There you go. So that might be just a Wu-Tang thing then. Yeah, that's it. It was just a funny. It's just I liked the phrase instead of N-word pass, N-word demand. I just thought that phrase was so funny. Like, just the concept of that is very good. Yeah, it's very funny.
Speaking of that, we actually have a System of a Down question.
Oh,
so I'll go ahead and skip a few for that one. So from Trey Hunter. Seeing how YouTube is slowly filling up with X song System of a Down AI cover videos, what is a song you would want to see actually covered by the actual System of a Down? I have an answer for this, and it's the right answer. It's the objectively correct answer.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll see if you can. We'll see if you can key into that.
I want System of a Down to cover Rock and Roll McDonald's.
Well, shit. I had a correct one, but that's pretty damn good too.
That's the only answer, man. That's the only answer.
I was going to say that Cameo, but
that's such a good idea. No, Korn did it already, and it would sound too similar.
Hang on. Like that's exactly why I want them to do it. I want them to do it better.
Fair enough.
Well, I think I want them to do. I don't know much System of a Down, but from what I know of them, I want them to try to cover the song from Earthbound that I have on my soundboard. That's Saturn Valley, the really goofy, silly one with all the Mr. Saturns walking around.
You know what? While on Earthbound, do you know what? I'm gonna add like a bullet point to that. How about Serj Tankian singing of his own version of the song that should be sung on his mock funeral?
Oh my god!
No,
I think I want him to do that, but he has to break into a little segment. You know how in Metallica's cover of Sabra Cadabra, they weave in a little bit of National Acrobat from the same album. I want him to do that, but have it also be blue spheres and red spheres, and spheres everywhere, and bing bang boom, we got the perfect cover right there.
Oh man!
Thank you, Serj.
Yeah. Okay, what other answers do we have? What were we
saying?
Oh, my correct answer, and honestly, if it wasn't for Rock and Roll McDonald's, it would be the only right answer. But the Rabbit Joint Zelda song that everyone thought was System of a Down years ago.
Do you know, I was gonna say that, but I thought that was too clever. You're very clever with that. Yes. Yeah,
it's. I mean, I'd pay for that, honestly.
Yeah, because I was gaslit for so long about that. I was gaslit. There was this. It was like a meme on YouTube, and I don't know who did it, but there was like it was a band that sounded like System, and they did their own. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and and it was just uploaded as it was in the mid 2000s. It was just uploaded. It was like Legend of Zelda theme, System of a Down.
No, I know
the guy sounds a lot like Serj.
It's one of the. I was gonna say this reminds me so much of one of those like LimeWire fucking. It's Metallica with Pink Floyd. They did a crossover, and it's just some band.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Yeah.
Man, those were the days.
Yeah, classic.
How about System of a Down doing "Relax" by Frankie Goes to Hollywood? That'd be good.
Ooh, that would be pretty good, actually. Or
There's actually a lot of
100 by
songs
the
that would
Wolves.
work.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Users Paradise. System
Wow.
doing Users Paradise.
I'd prefer Amish, really. You know, Amish Paradise, the
Actually,
third
yeah.
verse of Amish Paradise is like way better than the actual third verse of Gangster's Paradise.
Can
I
we
reali-
get? Oh fuck! Can we get an Origami King mashup featuring Surge?
Damn, that's the real play.
I think that's the best move.
Yeah, that would be.
By the
pretty
way, I want to
awesome.
make this clear as well. Like, and I think you've said this, Claw, a few times. Like, the stuff that like you've looked at with them and everything, you know, aside from the bullying children thing and all that stuff, but like, genuinely, I love watching that stuff because it's a dying breed of video and kind of personality that I thought didn't exist anymore, and it's fascinating to see the genuine heart and soul into it. So like
And
when we
then
talk
learning
about
that
I
there's-
genuinely talk fondly about it. I think
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's great. I think it's great.
Well, I have a little bit of disdain because I'm like, man, it's a little bit unfortunate that the parents didn't step in some way, like, and stop this from happening a little bit. But like, you know, it's also, yeah, it brings us back to a time when people were yelling about Sonic voice actors and stuff like that, and that's great.
God.
I guess I'll take the next album entry here.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got so my list isn't all just my favorite albums ever, mostly, but I mean, like, there's some on here where I'm like, okay, I don't want to just have like, you know, the most popular album because this is a very popular band. I want to be a hipster about it and have like a weird pick, you know. So it's not necessarily my favorite for some people. But this one isn't even one of those, though. However, that's all a disclaimer to say this is maybe like my number one favorite album of all time, or you know, top three. It's Into the Electric Castle by Ayreon. It's the third album by Ayreon, and the second to follow the ongoing storyline established. The first album establishes the story of the world in 2084 realizes they're all fucked and the world is going to end in nuclear holocaust, and so they develop time telepathy to somehow send back a message to the mind of a blind minstrel in the medieval 15th century to, I guess, bring this attention to fucking Merlin and King Arthur, I guess. And
Okay.
they're going to somehow do something to change the course of history so that we don't end in disaster. And they don't believe Arion, and they sentence Arion to death. And then I think the ending of the first album is Merlin realizes in his like sees for power and control and death and killing Arion, he's threatened by him. He realizes he sees visions of the future himself, and he's like, "Oh God, he was right. Uh-oh." And I guess we're all doomed. And so the second album is kind of unrelated to any of that. It's all just like the second album, Actual Fantasy, is like pretty good. It has that very 90s Arion sound, which is missing these days, sadly. But it's not really relevant to any of the storyline or anything. I think there's maybe one song in there that's kind of like relevant in some way. But yeah, this is like the third album is the second part of like a fucking 9-album storyline that follows these like aliens and all this shit and the fate of the human race. The Into the Electric Castle follows the story of a bunch of fucking people throughout time and space. Well, mostly just time. People from Earth. There's a barbarian. There's a future man. There's an Egyptian, an Indian lady, which is actually a Native American lady, but whatever. There's a bunch of people, and they're all brought to this mysterious, weird electric castle space place where they have a bunch of strange challenges to overcome, and they have this fucking voice telling them, you gotta fucking go follow enter the electric castle and find your destiny and find your future. And it's this whole story. I won't spoil what happens. Some may die. And there's like this ominous narrator throughout the whole thing. It is 90s super cool prog rock metal at times. There's a song called Cosmic Fusion with some really loud screaming death metal vocals. But the rest of the album is mostly just melodic, more prog rock, less metal. Very synthy, lots of flutes, lots of fucking violins and stuff. Long songs, story songs, not a skip on the fucking thing. It's all classics, 2 discs. It's like an hour and a half long or something. And yeah, I recommend the whole artist. I mean, Arjen Lucason's got fucking Star One, which is the first album. All the songs are based on like sci-fi movies and TV shows and stuff. One of which turned me on to the old British series Blake 7, which is fucking awesome, and I'm really enjoying it. Yeah. The third, I didn't listen to much of the second one, but the third album that came out like a couple years ago, all the songs are based on time travel movies like Bill and Ted and Terminator and stuff like that. And fucking that one's a banger. Every Arion album is fucking great. There's some that don't follow the main story, like actual fantasy. The story's kind of done now, so it's just kind of drifting into like whatever happens next. The most recent album was about a couple in like the fucking 18th century, and the husband dies, and the wife, who is like a servant, the husband is like a rich guy, the wife is like a black lady. She's a servant. She's, you know, the lower class, and everybody hates her. They all blame her and say that she killed the husband. He comes back from the dead or some crazy shit. It's like this whole. It's narrated by Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor, and he does a fucking
hell yeah!
He does a fucking incredible job of like Daniel enters transitus, and
He has a great voice.
Incredible voice. I've been listening to also some of the big Finnish audio dramas that he does. He still has an amazing voice even to this day. Yeah, and he does a great job on that album. The whole fucking and the live version of Into the Electric Castle had John Delancey, Q from Star Trek, doing the voice of the
My Little Pony man. Yeah,
exactly.
The guy that killed his family in Breaking Bad, right?
Yes.
Did that happen? Oh, okay.
Didn't he crash the planes because he was the plane
Oh!
operator?
He was.
Okay, sure. I remember the plane. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah, he
know
was the air
in
traffic.
the-
I'm pretty sure he was the air traffic guy. I could be completely wrong, but I thought that was him as well.
I think
That
so.
would be-
Yeah.
That would be funny. He's had a lot of roles, and yeah, he was the announcer for the again Into the Electric Castle. The original announcer's Peter Daltrey. He's got this very like, welcome, you have entered the cranial vistas of psychogenesis. He has like a deep voice at times, you know, kind of ominous, but. Yeah, the live version of I think it's called Electric Castle and Other Tales or something like that. And yeah, John Delancey's there, and he's all like, "Welcome to the castle." He's doing his best cue. It's great. Check that out. Check out all of Arion, all of this fucking side shit. Lucason's got his own fucking solo albums. He covered Beatles song. He covered one of my favorite Beatles songs, "For No One." On one
You've
of
got
his,
fucking good taste. That's a great track.
it's like not my favorite song of his, like his recording of it, but you know, it's one of his early things from like early 90s or whatever. So yeah, he's got a whole bunch of shit, and there's a bunch of offshoot projects. If you like Electric Castle, you'll probably like the rest. If you want one song to really set you in motion for the whole album, I'm kind of waffling between, it's like 2 songs right next to each other at the beginning. So just listen to it from the beginning. You really kind of have to, because it's a story album anyway. But the 2 songs are Isis and Osiris and Amazing Flight. They're like the second and third song. And the first song is just the announcer guy like getting you into the whole thing. So it's, you know, it's the first couple songs in the album. If you're into that, you'll probably like the rest of it. It's a cool story. You might have to listen to it a few times. Follow the lyrics maybe while you're, you know, on Spotify or whatever while you're listening. And that might help you. Yeah, interesting music if you want to listen to some wacky fucking space opera rock metal fucking sci-fi story music, you know. There you go. I think next would be
Caddy?
Caddy.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, back into it. Okay, so first of all, like what I'm about to say is gonna be very, very strange considering what you just said.
Yeah.
But also before I go into that, you're talking about like Tom Baker and all these, big actors and things doing musical shit. Did any of you ever guys hear? I don't know the name. I don't even think it was a project or a band, but Christopher Lee did operatic death metal for a bit.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that?
Yeah. Charlemagne by the Sword and the Cross.
Charlemagne, that's the name of it.
I haven't
Yeah.
heard
Charlemagne.
it, but
I really like his cover of My Way as well.
He also
Oh, yeah.
narrated. He did the narration stuff for a couple. I think it was a 2-part album by Rhapsody of Fire as well. So he did a few
nice.
metal things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now back into picks. So again, back into
we
my
go.
first list. This will be a quintessential me. It's really weird you brought that up. I was gonna put Revolver here, and then I ended up on Abbey Road. It's probably cliche, probably stereotypical, but fucking Jesus Christ, it's like technically Let It Be is the final album, but like these were the last recordings. It is the sound of a band fucking sick of each other. I love stuff like that. I don't know. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I have
like
a whole fucking thing I'm writing that's like a story about that. So that's that. Yeah, that's
Ah,
that's another reason
there you
why
go.
I want to listen to that album, album you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there you go. Yeah, so that's another example, I suppose. But then I guess the record company just like, no, one more, let it be, and it's like, yeah, all right. But yeah, fucking Abbey Road. It's what hasn't been said a million times. It's one of my favorites. I would love to say it was. Like, I was anti-Beatles for most of my life because, again, with most other shit, when you say Beatles, you think "Love Me Do" and you think, and it's like, okay,
I'm gonna recognize that they're also like a weird secret prog rock band a little bit, and
more or less, yeah. And well,
stuff.
I mean, with White Album and like Helter Skelter, that's the beginning of metal right there. Like it's
absolutely.
it's mental. But yeah, like so. It's just one of the most insane, like sweeping, ambitious, beautifully. Like it doesn't sound like it was recorded in 1969. It just doesn't. It's just like, yeah, iconic cover, iconic songs. There's a song about a guy that goes around kills people with a hammer, and it's sung like a nursery rhyme, and it's fucking great.
The best on the album, yeah.
Absolutely. Do you know the backstory of that, where they had to do a million takes of it?
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna just. I know this is.
I know John hated that one.
Have you heard his version of it?
No.
Oh my god. Okay, wait.
Is it sort of like the sweet Loretta fart? She thought she was a cleaner.
No, it's better than that. It's better than that. Okay, wait. John Lennon, Maxwell's. So this is what happened in one because it basically Paul was so like anal about getting Maxwell Silver Hammer right that everybody fucking hated the song and hated Paul by the end of it. And there was one moment where Paul is not in the room, and so John, George, and Ringo just fucking do this. I don't know if you can get away with playing it. I don't think it's on any albums. I don't think it's copyrighted, so you might get away with it. But it's so fucking good, and it's just like I wish that version was on the album. It's so good. But yeah, taking that aside, to avoid going over what everybody's already like said about this album.
I love the way that this video is edited too. That really.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah. But yeah, like I think if I was gonna pick a track from it, I mean, there's a million you could pick. My favorite track and my favorite Beatles song is "I Want You, She's So Heavy." Fucking amazing track, incredible track. Nothing sounds like it. It's basically Black Sabbath before Black Sabbath were a thing. And like the way that it just builds on top of itself and layers and layers and layers, and then it just cuts at the very end. It's so good, so abrupt.
The great tradition of songs that just end for one reason, like or another, because like the power it got cut. There's a I think the first song on the Laughing Stock album by Talk Talk. It also ends just abruptly like that because their power broke or something. Same thing with Pull Me Under by Dream Theater, another popular
interesting.
One.
There you go.
Ends they're jamming, it just stops.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know if that was the reason for that, but what I do find clever is that it's the final track of side A. So it kind of stops abruptly, and you've had this super dark, dismal, like miserable, heavy, like rain cloud of a song. It cuts. And then you got to imagine back in the day, it's like, okay, side A's finished, take the record off, clean it down, flip over side B, and by the time you've got it all set up, the first track is then Here Comes the Sun. And if you have that gap between that track and say it's so perfect because you're able to wind down after She's So Heavy, and then after you flip the record over, you then have that, and it's just lovely.
Calming breath of air. Yeah, I never considered that. That's a good point.
Yeah, because most people complain about like, oh, it ends abruptly on the playlists on streaming, and then it immediately goes into Here Comes the Sun. But you're forgetting that it was an LP first, so they had to get the record off and flip it over and clean it down. And when you consider that, it's really well done. But yeah, I can't go on more than anyone else has. So that's my third top. Runner-up on my runner-up list is The Great Escape by Blur. It's safe to say Park Life by Blur, but I find The Great Escape way more interesting, way more varied. It goes heavy, it goes silly, it goes soft, it goes emotional. It's very interesting, and the best thing about Blur for me is that whenever I talk to any American about them, it's always woohoo! It's always song two.
Hell yeah.
Great track, don't get me wrong. But I think maybe it's just because they're a fucking national treasure in the UK. Every album, more or less, is a banger, and they don't get anywhere near the same love or attention that Oasis does in the States specifically. Like, there's just a load of great shit to go through. But Great Escape is just fucking batshit crazy. If I had to recommend a track from there, I could. Do you know what? I don't know, but my favorite track is a track called Mr. Robinson's Quango. It's a weird name for a track, but it's almost like but there's like bits of ska in there as well to that album. It's just all over the damn place. I'm gonna say Fade Away or Mr. Robinson's Quango or Country House, because they're all completely different tracks. And again, I like the whole singing with the London accent thing. I think that's unique. I really like that. So, yeah, Great Escape, Blur. That's my runner-up. And then for newer finds, and this is going to sound odd to a lot of people, considering some of the other people I've mentioned. I am new to David Bowie, if you can believe it.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I was never brought up with him.
I
was never brought up with him, and I've been basically for the last couple of months I've been going on Twitter and saying, hey, I've always wanted to get into this band or this person. What album should I start with? And like a load of, Hunky Dory gets picked a lot, which is fair, and Ziggy Stardust and Aladdin Sane and all that stuff. Yeah, that all gets picked. I get it. But I never saw The Man Who Sold the World got picked that much, and I dig The Man Who Sold the World. That's my favorite Bowie album. Yeah,
it's a really
I feel like a lot of people love A Man Who Sold the World.
I mean, maybe they do. I didn't notice it as like a recommending starting point. Like, I think the safer ones are Hunky Dory, Aladdin Sane, Ziggy Stardust, all that stuff. But like, yeah, I find Man Who Sold the World super interesting. And David Bowie is an incredibly interesting man, and I'm really sad that I've only just really started getting into him. Because now I'm into I went through Black Star, because that's a fascinating album in and of itself.
It really
and then
I gotta listen to that.
Yeah, like it's basically just jazz while he muses about dying. It's just amazing.
It's a mortality kick. That's the way I'd describe it.
He knows he's gonna die, and it's just fucking songs about what's one of the tracks on there? I Can't Give Everything Away. It's just fucking heartbreaking.
He knows he's gonna die, and he's going to make you vibe to it.
Yeah.
And it's basically that. But it's like he'll be just talking, and then there'll be random saxophone solos in the background. There's
a really interesting part on, I think, the title track of that album where he just goes like, "I wanted your ass." I don't know. Always a cool guy. I don't know. The lyrics are interesting sometimes.
Oh yeah, the second track is "'Twas a Pity She Was a Whore" or something like that. So like he's a interesting. But then you've got Heathen as well, which I don't see anybody talk about. I think that's a great album. Like, so very experimental, like borderline punk. Didn't give a fuck. He did not care what trends were. He was he just did what the hell he wanted. He dressed how he wanted, sounded how he wanted.
That was that whole station to station kind of era too.
Oh my god! Do you know what? That was when he got really, because I've been looking into this. He got super coked up during Station to Station, and he basically made this character, and then started talking about like how Hitler was the first rock star, and he just went
Yeah.
fucking overboard with it.
It's-
And then he
it's
stopped
wild.
taking coke and was like, "That was stupid."
That's
It's like,
pretty
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
So-
No, that's another one. Vinny talks about him a lot, and I've learned a lot about his like. I think it's like he would eat like mayonnaise sandwiches or some weird fucking crazy coked out guy kind of thing that
Yeah.
he was doing during that period. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Always
I-
fascinating. Yeah.
yeah, definitely fascinating. But yeah, I've only just started getting into him, and I find "Man Who Sold the World" to be the most interesting I've listened to so far. If I had to pick a track from there, fucking hell, "Width of a Circle" is pretty damn good. But yeah, Black Country Rock is great as well. There's loads of great tracks, fucking hell, I don't know. Maybe Hunky Dory's better. I don't know. It's great. So yeah, that with that the runner up. What did I say with Oh yeah, I did Blur, and then I also recommended Abbey Road. Yeah, that's where I am with that.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I'll go with my next one here. Well, you were talking about Bowie. I have to. I put Ziggy Stardust on mine.
I don't blame you. It's a good
an
album. I don't blame you.
Undeniable classic. It's good all the way through. If I have to pick one song, obviously, it's Starman. Yeah,
Starman's.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
It's
What?
the obvious.
You know what?
one,
I like Moonlight Daydream. I think
but
that's my
Moonlight
favorite.
Daydream's
I think.
really good. You're right. Fuck yeah, you're right.
Oh, it's change. We have a live pick change, people.
Well, no. I mean, like song wise, yeah, you're right. It's probably better.
Yeah,
better one for me.
dude.
But...
Do you want to fucking take this to StreamYards? Like, let's go,
Oh my
boy.
Yeah.
God, we're gonna battle.
Can fist
Your
fight in the
train
street.
is going to fight my train.
Yeah, we're gonna do some diss tracks now. Let's do it.
Yeah, I
no,
mean,
it's a great
Starman
album.
is a good pick there though for like a first song to get into on that album. That's yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's like Life on Mars for Hunky Dory. It's just one of those ones that's just there's not much to fault on it, you know.
Yeah, it's the needle drop that it's a needle drop for a reason. There's a reason you hear it everywhere. It's a
The
damn
only
good song.
The only problem with Starman in that regard is that it doesn't have a cool TV show based on it. But that also means
True.
that it doesn't have a terrible American remake based on that show. So.
I remember the American remake.
I don't need a Ziggy Stardust American NBC sitcom or whatever the fuck that would be.
There's stuff that Life I haven't watched it, but I know about bits and pieces of Life on Mars, and there's clips I've seen where I'm watching them and I'm like, this is funny, and I know exactly what they're talking about, and I just can't imagine it translating to Americans at all. Like, there's gags and there's jokes and there's skits where it's like, this is as English as it possibly gets, and unless you know, you just have no idea what they're talking about, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe I got something different from it, but I remember really liking it, and it was one I watched when I was in my teenage years. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
No, it's a good show. It's a good
We
show.
also grew up on a lot of British content. Like,
Yeah, I mean Doctor Who, and my dad got me into a bunch of that stuff too. So yeah.
I love stuff like
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
Around You. That's a show I've rewatched a few times.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's a great album. I don't really know. For a lot of these albums, I'm not gonna say much because it's like, yeah, what can I really add on top of this? But
Yeah,
a
it's
damn
like
good
it's
album.
one of the. This is why I didn't pick too many of like the really big popular ones. It's like, yeah, it's Ziggy Stardust. Yeah,
Yeah, it's classic
check
for a
it out.
reason. It's classic for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Tristan.
All right. My next pick is Rising, the Rainbow album. Typically
I
referred
haven't
to
heard
as
that name for
Rainbow
a while.
Rising. Yeah, Rainbows. I love Rainbows so much. I mean, you can't fucking go wrong. Richie Blackmore and Ronnie James Dio. You
Mhm.
don't get a combo that good that often. It's
Yeah.
really fucking
Yeah.
good. So it's very much like, 80s, 70s, 80s like metal, heavy metal. I mean, if you know anything about Ronnie James Dio, you have the general vibe of Rainbow,
Yeah,
at least up until he leaves.
Even if
76.
it's just Tenacious D cameo, like if you know that, then you know
Yeah.
that's what Dio is. You know, didn't he do that in one take for Kickapoo? Like he just I've heard that he walked into the studio. They gave him the words. He belted it out and walked out. And then they used that take for the track in the movie. Yeah,
That's amazing.
I've heard anyway. I would believe it. I would believe it.
I don't, I don't doubt it at all. So if I had to choose a track, it's really tough. Both of the tracks on side 2 are fantastic. Stargazer and The Light and the Black. I guess it really depends on your mood. If you want something heavier but less like lyrically and like, you know, lyrically and symphonically dense, A Light in the Black will, ooh, it'll get your blood pumping. It's so good.
Oh
But then, you know, if you want like an opus,
I had Stargazer. I found Stargazer randomly on a playlist on here,
It's
and
so
I
good.
liked it already. Yeah, it's a good song.
So yeah, the Rainbow Rising. It's a really, really good album.
Nice.
Actually, I had the CD of it somewhere around here.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
What is
tired,
this?
though. I'm not gonna go
What is
grab it.
what is a CD?
It's a
that's
compact
wild
disc. It's you know, if you think about the Nintendo shit cube, it's like that, but bigger than a
Oh my
chocolate
god,
chip
I haven't
cookie.
thought about him for a while. It's the Nintendo shit cube. I love that guy.
I
love
have to
that guy.
point out, by the way, the album cover for Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, the 1975 album. It is very similar to the Into the Electric Castle album cover. It's like a weird castle in space with rainbows, and there's a moon.
And it's made of a fucking guitar.
Oh, that's awesome!
It's
Yeah,
so sick.
I gotta listen to more of this band. Yeah,
They're really, really good. Like even after Ronnie James Dio left, they still have some bangers. Like
Who's
Since You've Been
the part
Gone,
of
Can't Let You
after?
Go. Good stuff.
Who's the singer after Dio?
I'm actually not sure. Let me check.
Hmm.
Uh,
I will say while
was
you're
it just?
checking,
It was
there.
Oh geez, who was it?
As an aside, Black Sabbath had Dio briefly, and he was a pretty cool singer in Black Sabbath. And I remember I never really listened to anything from after Dio left Black Sabbath. I listened to some of the like '90s Sabbath stuff like a year ago or something, and it was actually really quite good. There's a singer, I forget who it is. I think it's Tony something. He is the singer for like one of the last few Sabbath albums, and it was very good. It was I recommend, you know, not a runner up kind of one random recommendation. You should check out fucking some '90s Sabbath sometime. It's kind of,
You know, I haven't done that myself, so I'll do that. Definitely.
next
So,
up. I gotta check out '90s Maiden, where they didn't have Bruce Dickinson. That'll be a fucking weird one.
Oh,
So,
I've heard about that. I've seen the album covers. That's all I need
Like
to know.
weird virtual reality shit. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, Tristan.
Yeah, it's well the singer after Ronnie James Dio, at the very least immediately after, was I was on it, I clicked off, I forgot it. Graham Bonnet.
Oh, I've never heard the name.
Yeah, I just kind of view anything after Long Live Rock and Roll as just, yeah, here's Rainbow, but without Dio.
No, that's still something, you know.
Yeah, it's still really, really good. I like him.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's
All
do
right.
us a question.
All right, let me find a good one. Well, I guess since we're talking about metal, from Troca Nero. Favorite metal bands aside from, oh dear lord, KHCHCJCJHCXHCXJK, or as I like to call them.
What?
Yeah,
I'm assuming that's a real band. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. I'm not sure. I'll just copy and paste the whole question. So KHCHCJCJXK.
Oh, sorry, that KHCHCJCJHC.
Oh, yeah. They're very easily
The one
confused.
from Sweden. Yeah, that.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about KHCJDCJCHG.
Oh.
Yeah, of course.
No, they're from Uruguay. They're not. They support Nazis. It's weird. I would not listen to them.
Yeah, like David Bowie in Station to Station. Yeah, stay away from that.
I Google searched it, and the only thing that pops up is the comments on the thread.
Oh, that's bizarre. Then maybe it's their own band that they're starting. They're trying to do SEO or something. Well,
Maybe.
I don't know. You know, Metallica's pretty cool.
The thing is, I think when it comes to any band question, we're gonna answer these questions as we're talking. I think so.
Yeah, a lot of that's gonna come up anyway.
Yeah. That's not. I really don't mean to sound rude. It's just we will end up repeating ourselves. So, maybe music questions where it's like favorite artists or genres or thing like I think we'll end up just talking about it as we go along. So yeah, we'll just end up.
I'll just go ahead and hide a few of these then. A
Yeah.
little quality
Sorry,
control.
people. We will answer your questions, just not by answering you directly. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's people probably didn't know necessarily the format we were going for. So
Yeah, to be fair, when I posted this, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to talk about music. That's probably what you said.
We were pretty. Yeah,
we
were.
Read another one.
We flew off the seat of our pants on this one, people.
Very true. Very true. But yeah, we can read another one, can't we?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, no, if you've got one there, that's
so. How about all right? This one's a bit strange to me. I have a little comment after I ask it, but from Cars, Planes, Trains. What's your favorite band/artist to listen to while working? And I found that kind of weird because I've done some video editing fairly recently, and I feel like that's something that you really can't have music on for.
I do not is my answer. I'm afraid to say I do not. It helps me focus while I'm driving, but I don't listen to music when I'm working. No, I'll have videos of people in the background, i.e. the kind of clause stuff, like anything that's easy background listening, not too intense. I don't have to focus on it too heavy, because then it just feel like I'm not on my own in this room going mental, looking at screens and listening to my own voice on repeat. So like that's what I do, but I don't listen to music because I get too into it and then I just lose interest in whatever else I'm doing.
I can barely even listen to music while I read or something, but I do. I mean, if I am working and I want to listen, I don't know. I don't really have any distinct. That's people are always like, "What music do you listen to while you're working out or something?" I'm like, well. It's whatever I've been listening to usually. Like I don't know. I don't really have a lot of. I don't do it based on mood a lot of the time. Unless it's like specifically,
I was gonna say we could pivot this question into. I could change the question a little bit because I think this is a different and easier one we could all answer.
Hot button question change, people.
Yeah. What do you guys listen to while you're like cleaning? I think that's a better question.
Ooh,
do you know what I do? What I do is I don't tend to pick specific things for what I'm doing. It's more like because I've got like a huge backlog playlist, and so if I'm feeling like listening to something new, I go to that, and then I just like I look through my backlog and go, oh, that album I'm feeling like I could listen to, and then I find the album and then listen to it beginning to end. But most of the time I just stick my playlist on, which I know I like every song on, and just hit shuffle and then just fucking get on with what I'm doing.
That's what people act like that's weird, and I'm like, I have a liked songs playlist. It's got the stuff I want to listen to. It's fine.
Yeah, the stuff I know. Yeah, I will know when skip.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So if I'm wanting to be like, if I'm wanting to do things that are a little faster, I'll put on the higher BPM, where it's like, all right, I gotta be quick about something. Or if I can actually just be slow, I'll go for like chiller. Like,
you gotta get a walking playlist around like 90 or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe like an emotional playlist base, like an angry one or a sad one, or a like that might be a good idea.
Playlist for fucking something like that.
I did have one for a little bit there.
Has anybody? Okay, let's get candid. Has anybody ever done that before? Because I hear stories about this all the time, and like it's a completely normal thing, and I'm sure it is. Yeah. But I can't imagine. I would get I'd be into it too much with the music. I don't know. I don't know.
It's not really for your pleasure. It's more for someone else's pleasure.
Right. Okay.
I've done that sort of thing.
Yeah. Like
done what now? I'm completely lost.
Oh,
like a sex playlist.
A fucking playlist. You put on some CD or whatever.
I can't say that's ever crossed my mind.
Wow. Okay,
going back to cleaning. Going back to cleaning though. Usually I'll just put on whatever I feel like listening to. But one thing. If I ever want to get serious about cleaning, I'll look at myself and say, "You gotta clean, buddy." Yeah. I'll put on "It's Time to Clean" by Hot Dad. I love Hot Dad's music.
Oh yeah. That's
It's
the Granny
Also
Green
fame-
guy,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that guy. I was gonna say.
yeah, he did like the lyrical soundtracks to Hypnospace Outlaw. He has a song that's about a woman moving her body like a penis tip. A song about Hardee's. That one's a really good one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hell,
definitely sounds like good music to clean to, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's goofy, but it's still like a
that is
vibe.
that's a great album name. Music to clean to. Like I'd make an album like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think it's a single. It's
That'd
time
be
to
a
clean.
music to clean to, that's the name of the
Yeah, just a
compilation.
single. Yeah, Hot Dad music to clean to.
I
Yeah.
dig that.
Next up, I guess, is me on the thing.
Yes.
Unless we have more music to clean to.
No.
I've got more lady folk music. I should have probably structured this better, but fuck it. We got Ease by Joanna Newsom. Yes, however it's said. I think it's Ease. It's
Oh, I know
YS.
the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
It's
is it East 9? Hell yeah.
It's like that series, yeah, with
Yeah.
the anime series. It's an album of a lady who plays the harp and she sings songs that are very medieval and kind of weird, and they're very. I mean, I like progressive rock, but in general, this is not rock music, but I like music that's just progressive in general. Most of the songs in the album are like 10 minutes long, and they tell you weird stories, and they take turns, and they take dramatic shifts, and it's all this kind of very classical. Like, she plays the harp. Her voice can be a little abrasive. I didn't pick her first album because she has some songs on there where I remember my dad stopped me from playing her one evening because her voice was too loud and kind of screechy and shrill. She has a song on her first album called Three Little Babes, I think it's called, and it's just her or something.
Amazing. We could barely hear that.
Your
but it
mic
was
just
great.
went into
sure.
like
No,
your mic just
yeah.
went into cat noises, like
Yeah.
frequencies we couldn't hear.
There you go. That's a perfectly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my
accurate
cat's freaking
representation.
out behind my door.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's a pretty accurate Joanna Newsom impersonation here.
She has an interesting voice. She
Got
gets a little.
set of pipes.
It's still a little bit strange and abrasive on Ease, but she's like a lady Bob Dylan. You get used to it a little bit. But she actually has a very nice voice a lot of the time on that album. First album, again, very kind of abrasive. Her third album, Have One on Me, is like a triple disc fucking 3 hour long thing, and I don't think I've ever listened to all of it. It's pretty good, what I've heard of it, but Jesus God, it's so long. I don't know if it needs to be so long. The Yeez, however you say it, it's like the right length. It's again it's like 5 songs, and each song is like 10 minutes long or something, except one that's like a little shorter. And I really recommend it. If I had to give a shout out to one specific song, I'd probably say either Monkey and Bear or Only Skin. They're both long tracks. The Monkey and Bear is about a monkey and a bear, and they live together, and they escape from an evil man who like runs the farm they're on or whatever, the circus or something, and then they go on an adventure and stuff happens, and it's a fun song, and it's a dramatic song. It's very tense. It's very nice song. Check it out. Also, honorable mention goes to, there's an EP that she did. It's like 2006. I forget the name of it. It's like Joanna Newsom and the Ease Street Band or something like that. And there's a song on there called Colleen, and it's probably my favorite song by her. It's not on like a normal album of hers, but it's a really good song. Check that out if you can too. She's not on Spotify, unfortunately. She's one of them hipsters. So I don't know if she's on any of the other fucking services, or if you have to just like kind of sail the high seas for that one. But or buy it. Buy the album, buy the actual record, get a fucking physical record and put it in your real record machine,
Hell
pleb. If you're not a fucking faker like me. Joanna Newsom. In general, she's pretty cool. She's married to Andy Samberg, who I have heard is on a boat.
Oh, she's married to Andy. I did not know that. Fuck.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they've divorced. I understand her last album. I have never heard it, actually. Her last album was from 2015. It was called Divers, and I think it was released just shortly after or like a little before she had kids with Andy Samberg, and I don't think she's had any music since then because she's just been like a mom. So yeah, unless
I wonder what
something's
Lonely
happened.
Island's been doing.
I will take a look real quick. Yeah, they're still married.
Oh yeah. Well, best of whatever to them. I wish she'd make
Hey,
more music
respect.
though.
Yeah. Now,
Cool.
she did perform 5 new songs last year at a
Oh,
Fleet
wow.
Foxes set.
You gotta check that out.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, shit. Oh yeah, she was also in Inherent Vice, which was a pretty good movie.
That's true. I remember that. She was acting in that movie for some reason.
Hey,
It's
good
like
movie.
David Lynch remixing a song for some reason. Weird fucking people.
Hey, respect.
These
Yeah,
fucking
I had-
famous people.
I had that moment of I watched Videodrome for the first time a couple of months back, and Debbie Harry being in it from Blondie was like, oh fuck, what are you doing in this movie? Like, you're a main character, you're an actress. What is going on? It's really weird when that
Well, have
happens.
any of
Hey,
you
she's
seen
really
the
good in it.
Have any of
Yeah,
you
she
seen
is.
the movie that David Bowie made where he's like, I think it's The Man Who Fell to Earth, and he's just like this bizarre, awkward. I mean, he's like an alien, which is what he's playing. He played the right role, basically. It's actually
So
pretty
what?
well.
Oh my god! What you're saying then is that David Bowie isn't dead. Neil Breen is now David
It's-
Bowie.
It's very
Honestly-
Neil Breen. I was going to say it's like a tank top movie. It's like one of those like fucking weirdo. It's basically his vanity project. So yeah.
Wow.
I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, because Bowie acted in a lot of stuff, and some of it was pretty good.
Yeah, some of it. I've heard of him doing some things. Yeah.
I liked
Yeah.
him in Twin Peaks when he was in Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah, he was on that. That's true.
Yep. Pontius
Um,
Pilate in
Caddy,
Last
I-
Temptation of Christ. Sorry.
I think. I'm sorry. I'm just.
You're good. I was rambling on that
Yeah.
one. You're good.
No, we want to try to move it along a little though, because we have so much to get to each
Yeah.
of us.
That's why I was
I'm-
saying that.
yeah,
I
I
was
was
like,
gonna
oh,
Oh
yeah.
god, we're at 2 hours.
We didn't realize
Yeah.
how long
Come on,
this would be.
I mean, look, guys. I am more than happy to keep coming back, and you can just reap the ad revenue. So we'll just keep doing this.
We're making ad revenue?
Yeah, we
You
can
make
go
ad
for a
revenue?
I
break.
wish.
Oh wow!
I
So
wish.
maybe we can look into ad revenue. Yeah. That'd be
Yeah, you know what? Now sort that out, and then I'll come back. Yeah, no, I'm good for another hour or so if you guys are, but we can put like a period on it and just come back to it later. Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
now
yeah,
that
there
also.
there is always the potential for a part 2.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, hey.
And then a 3, and then a 4, and then a
I
5.
mean, shit, we've got all these lists. We can refine them with time too. So
Sure,
hey.
I'm-
I spent so long refining what I've already got. I'm never looking at this list again. I'm just fucking leaving it,
Right.
and then if you guys want to do it, you do it. I'm not touching mine. I'm fine.
No, that's fair.
I like my 20 for like this little bit that we can do 20 more down the road.
I know
Or
you
another
had like
set.
hundreds, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Plus, this format also, like, we can bring more people in down the road and have them do 20, and we can talk about their 20. What have you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, next would be Caddy.
Yes.
Okay, right. I'll try and not ramble. So that is mostly my fault. I do
Yeah,
ramble.
you're
I do know that.
It's all
You
good.
and I both.
You're the
are
guest.
Rambling is
going on
fun,
about
though.
it.
It is fun. Okay, so back on my list of my absolute favorites. This is exactly who I am musically. We are on The Birthday Party with Junkyard. Birthday Party are a fucking fascinating band. If anybody has heard of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, or Nick Cave as a artist or a person that does music,
Yeah.
this was technically his second band, if you want to get specific, because he was in a band before. They did one album, so people don't really count it. But Birthday Party is what made Nick Cave a household name before the Bad Seeds happened, and then it became Red Right Hand, which then was the theme tune for Scream, and then the theme tune for fucking Peaky Blinders. So if you know that, then this is early version of that, but a few different people. Birthday Party is I wouldn't even call it noise rock. It's death music. It's just it's fucking the second it begins till the second it ends, it's an assault. It is a full front to back assault of an album. And the album cover art is fucking demented and also incredible. It's like some old school like graffiti shit you'd see on the side of a skyscraper. And yeah, Junkyard is a very, very accurate name for it. I'd love to say what it is about it. I love Nick Cave anyway. He's one of my favorite musical people. But just to hear like something that isn't death metal or like black metal or something, but then it could almost compete with it just from how it sounds, and it's not even vaguely what I would call metal. It's just, yeah, it's a fascinating listen. I can't explain it. It's very difficult to explain it. If I want to give you a track to listen to, Blast Off is the opening track is fantastic. Dead Joe is a great track as well. Kiss Me Black is good as well. But yeah, oh geez, there's a load of good ones on there, but it's almost like a scream of pain. And then when you listen to the album and then you think, how would this have been live in the early 80s? And then you start looking up YouTube footage, it's just like the most heroin coked shit you've ever seen in your life. It's like the bass player is just standing there in a full fucking cowboy getup. It's batshit crazy. And then Nick Cave is like just fucking like dancing to himself and almost like pole dancing without a pole with a cigarette in his hand and hair like a bird's nest and just shrieking into the microphone and then all of a sudden just singing calmly. It's a trip. So yeah, and that's the second. I think they only did a couple of albums. The Junkyard's the second album. The first album is called Prayers on Fire, and that album is one of Mike Patton's favorites and one of Serge Tankian's favorites from System of a Down. So it's another one of those kind of undergroundy, your favorite band's favorite band kind of thing. Also on Twitter recently. I mean, when I say I mean about a year ago. I follow Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers because Flea's cool. Because he talks about music a lot on Twitter, and somebody mentioned who are some of the best Australian bands, and then Flea said The Birthday Party. So even Flea likes The Birthday Party. It's just one of those things, no one's heard of them, but when you listen to them, you don't forget it. And I wouldn't say I listen to it all the time, but it's too different for me to not love. So that'll be my first one. In my runner-ups, on the 4th, is an album called Valentine's Suite by a band called Colosseum. And bless their little hearts, Colosseum kind of, they weren't even a shining star, they were just a fart in the wind. They were late 60s, heavy, like I guess Cream, but heavier Cream. But the thing with Valentine's Suite is, so I would say the best way to get introduced to Colosseum is the opening track of Valentine's Suite, which is called The Kettle. It's super bluesy, super heavy, super rich, and it's like 1967, I want to say. Yeah. And it's just, yeah, they didn't exist for very long. No one knows who they are. No one remembers them. But then the first side of the album is, you know, the typical kind of heavy Cream kind of shit, and then the second half is where Valentine's Suite begins, and then it becomes acid jazz fusion instrumental fucking 19-minute fucking organ solos and shit. It's another, again, it's a trip, and I wouldn't say it's not something I would listen to all the time, and sometimes it'll pop up in my playlist in the car and I'll skip it because I'm just not in the mood for it. But it's more just, it's so different, and it's like I feel sorry for them not ever getting the recognition that they most likely deserve, because you don't need to listen to the actual Valentine's Suite part of the album to understand how it's cool. If you just listen to The Kettle, you're just like, this shit slaps, why isn't it more popular? And it's like, again, like 67, and it's like, wow, it almost sounds like it should have been mid-70s. It doesn't sound like late 60s whatsoever. But yeah, runner-up, so that's Valentine's Suite by Colosseum. And then in newer finds, my fiance again, Karis, she's really into Brothers in Arms by the Dire Straits. And I'm not massively into that album. It's a bit too floaty and a bit too soft for me. And whenever she played tracks of it, because that is one of her favorite albums, rather. And there were bits and pieces I admired, but I just didn't fully get into it. And then on a total whim, I was at a record store and I saw their debut, which is just Dire Straits. That's just the name of the album, Dire Straits. If anybody knows Sultans of Swing, that came from this album. I fucking love I love Sultans of Swing. I love Sultans of Swing.
I really like the live version they did at Alchemy.
Yeah, there you go. So I was like, okay, based on Sultans of Swing alone, I'm going to give the debut a try. And we're talking kind of late 70s, and it doesn't sound anything like Money for Nothing or any of the big stuff that went mainstream on Brothers in Arms. But like the debut of Dire Straits is a solid, incredibly well performed. Basically every track is like Sultans of Swing, but at different like tempos, different feels. It's just a very it's a very plinky plonky picky guitar sound which you don't hear anywhere else. That is a very a Dire Straits kind of sound, but
the finger picking,
yeah, almost. But if people have heard Sultans of Swing, which is the song I would recommend from that album, then you know what you're in for. It's basically an album of that kind of sound, that kind of feel, that kind of musicianship, and it's a shame that barely any of that album gets talked about aside from Sultans of Swing, whereas, you know, the other stuff where it's I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, it's just not my thing, but that stuff is the stuff that blew up like crazy in the 80s, and yeah, this stuff kind of got forgotten, but as a debut, it comes out really strong, and it's made me want to look into more of them. So yeah, those are my 3 for this bit.
Hell yeah.
The Valentine one definitely sounds interesting to me. I like the idea
Like-
of a 17-minute song here.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm probably misremembering, but it's like the kind of like you have the singles on the front and then the back is the suite, so it's like part 1, part 2, and it just like the drumming alone on that fucking track. It's like I don't even know I'm a drummer and I don't even know the name of the drummer, but he just fucking loses his mind on Valentine's Suite. He really goes for it, and it's really good. And the album cover is really late 60s psychedelic, and like I don't even know what's going on. There's a lady.
It was like a death metal album at first. It's
Yeah,
kind of bleak looking.
yeah, but it's almost like washed out, and it's like there's a monolith, and I don't know what it's doing there. Why is it lit up on the top? What is the woman doing there? It's just weird. It's just weird.
I like these albums that you and I are both mentioning. They're like, why is this album about this? What's going on? I don't know. I've liked this album for fucking 15 years, but I don't know what it's about. Shit.
Yeah. yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm gonna go for this one's technically kind of an EP, but it's from a YouTuber. It's YouTuber Nakey Jakey, and he did an album called
Hell yeah,
Rom-Com.
brother.
And it's really
He did an album?
Yeah, he did an album. It's an EP, but it's rom-com, and I consider it an album. He's been working on one for a while, and it's I think 6 tracks. They're all pretty good. I'll recommend. Let me find the album here. You think I'd have it pulled up? It's on Spotify.
I don't know why I haven't listened to his stuff. He's pretty good.
Yep, it is on Spotify.
I just appreciate, like, I haven't watched many of his actual videos, but I do appreciate he was covering similar things to what I was covering a few years back with, like, you know, the demo disc menus and nostalgia of magazines and shit like that. So I don't know how far apart we are in age or anything, but he seems to have nostalgia for similar things that I do.
He's just about my age. I'm almost certain. He's about like 26. 26 or 27.
Like mid to late 20s, yeah. A lot of early 2000s nostalgia.
I think so, yeah. Okay, about eight songs on the EP. I'd recommend Reebok Over Nikes as the track I'd recommend for everyone to listen to.
I know what that's a reference to.
Yep. It's a lot of references. It's all really good. There's one track I personally don't like, but it's a good track nonetheless. I'm not gonna say it's a bad song. Not my cup of tea. I'm gonna say that.
Which one?
That one is probably Survival Horror. Again,
okay.
it's a good song. It's just not really like my favorite of the 8.
Yeah, I have some like that too, yeah.
But yeah, no. All in all, pretty solid, really good. I've liked a lot of his individual tracks he's put out over the years, and I'm ready for more.
It's also under a half hour here, so you know,
yeah.
Get in, get out, check it out.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be my next step towards I don't know, creativity and stuff, because that seems to happen for a lot of people, like with, you know, Filthy Frank and, you know, all.
Yeah.
It seems as though music is a logical next step, and I got a lot of music shit in my head which I can't really do or explore while I'm doing what I'm doing now. But I'm happy doing what I'm doing now. I'm more than happy. I'll keep it going as long as I can. But music would be, yeah. I mentioned earlier I had dinner with Vinny not that long ago, and we were talking about, hey, we need to trade shit. We need to make a fucking YouTube super group. Like, I'm up for shit. Like, it'd be fun. It'd be
Oh
really
shit!
fun.
I mean, I was gonna say I had some stuff I was working on that I was like, yeah, maybe I should get Caddy to like do some drums on this. That could be fun. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it gives me
He's got
excuse to get back on. It gets I used to
yeah.
record. I used to record drum covers. I've got maybe one or two left on my channel, but the problem is that shorts don't pay shit, and it tanks everything else on my channel.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stopped. But yeah, it's just a hobby now, so I need an excuse to record again.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm definitely down for the super group idea. I always like that.
this might be the time to bring back the YouTuber with 17 side channels kind of time, you know?
That's what I'm doing now. I've got
I
fucking
miss that era.
streaming channels, sleeping channel. I've got that's
Yeah.
the way to do it because you can experiment and not worry about tanking everything on what your main channel's value it relies on. It's a good way of doing it. Good way of doing it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, hey, you know, it's good to see again. I'm, you know, there was a phase where YouTubers were really creative with doing side shit, and then it kind of stopped, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's a separate thing. But I
Yeah.
learned a lot about YouTube in the last 3 years. I feel like I could write a book about it. But then but I feel like there's a conspiracy part of me that's like, if I were to do that, then I would almost get, I don't know, they change the system.
Yeah,
because
I
think because it's like Matt Pat, right? Like because he knows the whole thing inside out. He's fucking nailed it to a T, but he doesn't tell anybody. And I'm like, they must be paying him to keep quiet. They must be. I don't know.
Him, Mr. Beast, both pretty good at getting that algorithm game.
Yeah. Although all you got to do, like, whenever I bumped into, like, there was one time a couple of months ago, I went to my there's a place called Asda. Walmart used to own them, but they're not there. They don't own them anymore. But it was a supermarket. But I was driving there, and I came back to my car, and at the time I was driving my Mustang, and because of that attracts attention just based on the car that it is. And there were like 3 kids. Their parents were there, but there were these 3 kids, and they basically were like, "Whoa, nice car! Are you a YouTuber?" It's like, "Oh yeah, how'd you figure that out?" Okay, but I had a really brief chat
Be
with
like,
them.
yeah, I am not that kind though. Don't worry.
Yeah, oh, I know. Yeah, exactly. I had to say that to the fucking mum because I was like,
Wow.
you probably heard some things about the word YouTuber. That's why I don't say I am. I when people ask me what I do, I say I make videos on YouTube for a living. There's too many negative connotations. But yeah, it was funny. Because they all, like, I asked them they were all asking me advice and shit, and like, oh, how easy, how hard, like, blah blah blah. And then I was asking them what they like watching, and they all said, you know, oh, Mr. Beast, that sounds amazing. Look at the views and the money he must be making. And then I said to them, yeah, you're right, but go to Google and type in Mr. Beast miserable, and then read and weep how fucking miserable that man is. It sounds like hell. No amount of money in the world would make me want to have that life. Because you could be a billionaire, but if you can't walk outside and get toilet roll, what's the point of having money? You can't spend it. You can't do anything with it. You can't go on holiday. You can't go to a theme park. Can't go to a movie. You can't do anything because you're just going to get harassed.
Yeah, it's like a moment, because also he's got such a unique looking face. It's like everyone's going to see him and be like, all right, that's Mr. Beast. All right. Even if he pretends to not be Mr. Beast. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. And then, you know, you look up Mr. Beast miserable, and one of the first things I get is the Sad Boys podcast. Mr. Beast is evil, actually. Like, well, I guess a lot of people have opinions about him too, so they won't all just be, hey, give me money. People might want to come up and kick him in the balls or something.
Well, that's that as well.
Probably,
like, but yeah, no, I've read interviews with him about his work-life balance and his schedule and everything, and it's just like, yeah, okay, like maybe there's a grander goal, maybe he's planning on something really big, maybe there's a charitable thing going on when he's had enough, I don't know, but there is no point making multiple millions per month and then just not being able to spend a penny of it because everywhere you go, you can't do anything with your money. Like, what's the point? Like, I just don't know. Yeah.
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 That is
I
kind
feel
of a
I
fucked
feel
up
sorry
life.
for the guy. I do a little bit.
I mean, it's funny. There's a lot of rock stars and musicians that are in that same position too. I mean, like,
Oh
you
yeah,
just can't go
yeah.
outside at all. It's good to be one of the sort of mid-range people. Sometimes you just like coast under the radar a little bit, you know.
Yeah, niche micro celebrity, I suppose is what you
Yeah.
call it.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, there's a little safe spot of being like just famous enough to enjoy the fun parts without dealing with the bad parts.
Just
You know?
famous enough to get away with murder if you need to, but not so famous that you can't buy milk, you know?
Yeah.
Like, exactly.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. Yeah, that's
it,
what I was saying to the kids. Like, could you imagine? Like, I just walked into this shop and bought like a block of cheese and some toilet roll. Do you think Mr. Beast could do that without being bothered, without having people pushing their phones in their faces? Can you like think how that would be for a second? It would suck. It would absolutely suck.
yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, you would just have to order out like everything through like a delivery app or Amazon.
But then,
Oh my
but then
God,
at that
ladies
point,
and gentlemen, we have somehow wound up on corporate dystopia again, even on the music hyperfixation.
Yeah.
I mean, we
okay,
already
though.
were kind of going there when we were talking about it's a shame that Queen's mainstream stuff has always been more popular. We were already theming in that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I guess
kind of
it's
the
just on our minds.
It's kind of the undercurrent of the whole podcast, really. We talked about a Konami game on one episode. There's some corporate dystopia there.
Yeah,
Well,
we've been
In fact, actually, if you want to get really deep about it, loud equals funny. You know what? That has worked for fucking Big Bang Theory. It's worked for
Yep.
all these other things. Loud equals funny to most mainstream, capitalist-driven comedy studios. It's very true.
Exactly.
You know,
That's why we're secretly the name
that's
that's trying
why
to get one
you've
of those companies to pay us.
Oh
yeah.
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 You
Everything
really just want to
everything
get
here is a
picked up.
commentary.
You want to get picked up by the Embracer group or something, and then
Yeah.
they'll really hit it big.
Well, when we sign our $100 million deal with iHeart and Spotify at the same time, you'll hear about it.
The only restriction I have is we will never be sponsored by.
Yeah, Braid
Never.
Battle Legends, yes.
Never that one. No, thank you.
This-
Oh, I've done that a
Oh,
few times.
Dude,
They're great. I love them.
They paid me at one point, and I'm like, man, they are willing to do anything.
Do it on your own time, Bane.
I
don't want to associate.
Man.
Raid Battle Babums is sure a great game. I'm sure a lot of people like it. Who was next? I got lost. We've been lost.
I think we were just talking. So I think we're on the 5th pick, right, at the moment.
I think
so.
Well,
I think we're on 4.
I think we're on 4. Yeah, one more pick, and I think it's Tristan's because
No, we just did 4 because that was
Yeah.
the Dire Straits one there on the
Yeah.
list.
So should we do? Should we go around and just do the 5th picks of everyone, and then we'll carry it on?
Let me.
Sure.
I haven't done my 4th one yet.
Oh no.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
actually,
I guess
yeah,
that was the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Actually, yeah,
Oh my God.
I've done my 4th. I don't think Tristan did his 4th.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay, you do your 4th.
So Claw already has the Redbox album that I originally put on here, but I mean I have a really, really close second. Kerosene by Redbox. It is their acoustic album. Almost said acoustic, but it's their acoustic album. It's phenomenal. It's kind of heavy, raw depression core at times. But then you have songs like Heavy Little Heart, which is just like a country ballad, just kind of in the middle of the album.
Yeah, it's uplifting.
Yeah, it's really good.
Here comes the sun, right? Here comes the sun.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
But if I had to choose,
largely very depressing though, yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite track on the album is the last one, Cemetery Window. But if I had to choose one that would get you into it, probably Never Gonna Win, I would say. That's it kind of encompasses the vibe of the album.
Interesting. Those wouldn't be my picks at all. I really like the first couple, Never Gonna Win is good. I really like the first 3 or 4 on the album. I can forget all the names, but like the first 4 songs are kind of a
Yeah, Define Me,
rocket.
Foot in the Door, Kerosene, and Running to Forget.
Yeah, those are all 4 of those are like my go listen to those now. Yeah. I don't think we're
It's
gonna
really
get
good.
to Another Lights later on my thing, but yeah, no, Red Vox, and you've got Scythe Lord on yours, but I never listened to too much Scythe Lord for some reason. I think again, it's a little more aggressive metal than I tend to like.
That's fair.
But Red Vox was always I was down for them right from their first album. You know, I think I listened to some of Vinny's stuff before then too, because he had one song that was he said it was like kind of a Pink Floyd-y thing, and it was based on I think like a Game of Thrones character or something like that. I remember that was before pre Red Vox, and I listened to that, and it was pretty good. And he had other stuff before then that I listened to some of, but yeah, Red Vox, like the first, I have such fucking vivid memories of going on walks, listening to what was the name of the first album? Shit.
What could go wrong?
What Could Go Wrong? Yeah,
Yeah.
back in like 2015. God, that's almost a decade ago, Tristan.
Yep.
That's almost a decade ago.
9
Wow.
years.
It's
That's
been so
rough.
long. Yeah, no, going for like long feelsy walks, listening to that, being like, yeah, man, I get it, I get it. And this is man, yeah, no, go listen to Red Vox. Kerosene's a great
Yeah.
album. Again, yeah, it's mostly acoustic, which is interesting.
Yep.
A lot of their other stuff, it's been getting more electronic lately. They started a little more grungy, kind of, but they've been getting more electronic. Their stuff now is more like that. But they just had this acoustic one, like what was that, like 5 years ago or
Yeah,
something?
it was like right in the middle of Another Light and Realign, I think.
Yeah, so right in the middle there. And then also there's don't no special shout outs to Stranded as well.
Stranded is so fucking good. I always
Yeah.
listen to it right after Kerosene.
Yeah, it's like technically I think it's just released on its own as a
Yeah, it's just a
single,
single.
but I
Yeah.
always wish they'd make more like that. It's like my favorite song they've ever
It
done.
was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, good pick.
All
All right,
right.
Ken.
Do we want to go ahead and do a question, or do we just
Do,
want to wrap this up?
Should,
I'm
do we have
personally
a
should,
really tired.
do
okay,
we
shall
have
we go
a
like do the fifth picks and then we'll just see what other because we can roll over the questions to the future
Yeah,
Can,
questions
yeah.
too, right?
we can look for some good questions for the end, and try to get some more for next time too, yeah. We'll
Okay.
do, I guess, my next one here. I'm looking at my list and I'm checking it twice.
It's,
And there's a lot of stuff on the list that I could name because I could just go as what's next, you know. And I like that album, and I might go with that. But I'm just thinking maybe I'll reorder it a little. I think, I already talked about a. I'm looking for one here. You know what? I'm gonna go for one that's really popular because I get to rant about this for a little bit. So we were talking earlier about like, yeah, I don't like when bands sell out. I like their go to their earliest stuff. That's when they're at their best, and a lot of the time that's true. And arguably that's true with this band too. But I maintain that the stuff that they did when everybody said that they fucking sold out, it was great. God damn it. It's S&M, the live album by Metallica from like the late 90s, where they bring in a symphony orchestra and
Really?
they do, yeah, and they do a lot of their older stuff, but they do some of their newer 90s stuff too. And I've been listening to this fucking thing since like 2007 or whatever, like for a long time. Uh, Big time favorite album. Not probably not my favorite from them, but it's on the list because it's like, it's a live album. It's kind of an interesting pick. I wanted to go with this one just because, yeah, it's 90s Metallica. People don't like 90s Metallica. They cut their hair, they're sellouts, they're fucking scum, they just want radio play. But I don't know. I think that I personally really like a lot of the 90s Metallica stuff. They wanted to go clearly in a direction that was a little softer at moments. And I think it would have been nice if they probably weren't allowed by their record label or something. It would have been nice if they were allowed to just like do a James Hetfield solo album where he gets to be a country singer or whatever, because it's clear he fucking wanted to do that, and they were going in like this
That's
kind
such a
of
good idea. That's such a good
well,
idea.
they were going in like this kind of country direction. The Reload, they had the sequel to Unforgiven, and it's kind of like a country twang ballad kind of thing. And there's some stuff I don't like on Reload, and a couple songs it kind of skips on Load as well. But in general, I really like the vibe, and the '90s Metallica culminates, and just before S&M or just before Saint Anger happens and ruins the whole band, and it's just this horrible album with trash can drums. Caddy, you'd love it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love that. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. The whole album, I listened to it on Patreon at one point, and it was just miserable. I don't think I'd ever heard the whole thing. They actually redeemed one of their songs years later in a live performance. Funnily enough, S&M 2, like from a few years ago, they actually had a version of it. It's All Within My Hands from Saint Anger. Really, 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 really good version of it that they actually fixed from the worst album they've ever done.
Interesting.
But the original S&M, yeah, '90s Metallica culminates with some of their fucking. Okay, there's one skip on this album. There's one kind of. It's Hero of the Day from Load. It's the same one skip that I have from Load. I just don't like it. It's kind of bland. It's a little too. Yeah, it's a little too ballady and like I don't know, poppy. I don't. But the whole rest of it is they've got the fucking what do you call it? The Ecstasy of Gold from Ennio Morricone, which starts off the whole thing, and they come in with
Ooh.
their. Oh yeah, that's a Metallica live show staple. They love doing that. They come in with that,
Hey.
and then they got Call of Cthulhu, and then they break out into it's another instrumental, and then they break out into I think Master of Puppets is after that, and then I think after that they get into like Memory Remains from Reload, and there's Devil's Dance from Reload, a really great version of it. They've got Fuel from Reload. They've got Outlaw Torn from Load. They've got I think they have King Nothing from Load, which is like my one of my favorite songs from them. So yeah, it's Metallica with symphony bullshit. There's a lot of songs you wish were on there, like Fade to Black, but sadly they're not. For years it was rumored there would be like that LimeWire bullshit. It's like, oh, I got the secret version of the album where it has the extra songs. I want that version. You never got that version. But yeah, no, they did that. It was a great live metal album. I recommend it, and yeah, the sequel version is pretty cool too. Shout outs to Metallica. They're overrated, but they're also overhated. I like them. They're a good band. They've got a
That
lot
is,
to.
dude, you've hit the nail on the head. I'm new to Metallica. I'm good. I've only started listening to them in the last 6 months.
Yeah, you mentioned before. I remember.
Yeah. Blame my lovely father over that shit. But like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's weird because I feel like I've really missed out, and at the same time, I feel like I've missed nothing. Like you've hit the nail on the head. It's like when it's good, it's fucking phenomenal, and then when it's like mediocre, it's like, ugh. And then when it's bad, it's just what the hell am I doing with my life? It's so
Yeah. Have
interesting.
you ever heard the Lou Reed album?
I am the table. Yes.
I am the tape. Yes.
And then there's Lou Reed like and
He's just doing whatever. Yeah.
oh
I've
my
heard some
god.
people try to redeem that album, be like, in defense of. It's like, I don't know, man. Just settle down.
It's so fucking weird, right? So okay, like before I go into my fifth, but like while we're on Metallica, so like I'm new to this band as a whole, and it's like I checked out because I really liked what I heard. I checked out 72 Seasons, which they just released a couple of months ago, and it was like I know based on me being a drummer and Lars, and I don't think he's a very good drummer. When he gets it right, he gets it right. It's fine. But I don't think in general he's a very good drummer. But like I know from him, and I know from documentaries I've seen and things I've read, they are huge Motorhead fans. Motorhead is one of their biggest inspirations, and you can hear that in Kill 'Em All in their first album. It's just a slightly edgier, faster Motorhead. It's American Motorhead in a weird way.
Yeah.
And then 72 Seasons is like it's almost coming back to that. They're in their fucking 50s. They can still play pretty damn well. They're a solid band together. It still sounds pretty hard. And yet I'm seeing complaints, and it's like, well, 1 second it's like, you know, Black Album is too soft and too mainstream and too sellout, and then as they get a bit older, as you know, they're fucking in their 50s, and they're trying to bring back that kind of thrash magic, and then people are still like, well, it's not as new. They're 50, fucking leave them alone. Like, they're actually doing good. I thought 72 Seasons was good. It was just like, yeah, like a modern Motorhead. It was just like, this is good. I like it.
Yeah,
you know?
I didn't, I liked what I heard of it. It didn't like draw me in super hard, neither did Hardwired, but I do still really love Death Magnetic. I've only warmed up to it more over the years.
Yeah, I haven't heard that
especially-
yet. Yeah.
Specifically the Guitar Hero 3 version, the version that's mixed properly, where you
Yeah.
can hear all the instruments.
I heard
The real, yeah, the real album version, fucking not great. I mean, it's fine, but it's not great. It's
Yeah.
mixed very poorly, very compressed.
It's so weird how the
Uh,
good mix is trapped on a fucking game from 2008.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Death Magnetic is a great album, and people write that off. It's weird because like it came 5 years after Saint Anger, and I don't know what the fuck they were doing in Saint Anger, which is funny because
Nobody knows.
I watched an entire documentary they made about it, and I still don't know what
Yeah.
the fuck they were doing.
Some kind of monster, right?
It's a great documentary, and it's still, I don't understand. I've listened to the album, I've watched it, I fucking don't get what they were going for.
Yeah.
But Death Magnetic's great though, and yeah, no, the newer Metallica's pretty good. I don't love the last two, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's perfectly good new Metallica stuff. you
Yeah,
know?
that's why I think it just loops back into what you said. Overhated and also not, underrated. It's the same. Like, they can't seem to get it right or wrong in the eyes of basically up aside from the good old days. Aside from then, like after that,
Oh,
it's
it's
just
like
they
the
can't get
people
anything
with.
wrong.
There's like the video from Drew Gooden about SNL was never good or whatever. It's not what it's called, but it's about the people that claim that SNL hasn't been good since whatever year. It's like, really, has Metallica not made a good song since 1986? Are you sure? Are you certain of that? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's like
But Black Album's good. It's good. Like, it's like I don't even the stuff like, oh no, Enter Sandman's what everyone jumps to, but no, The Unforgiven is great. Like, yeah, like there's some good tracks in there, and yeah, you know what? Even if it is a bit softer, like, and maybe it's a bit more easy listening and blah. You know what? Maybe they wanted to do that, and then what the fuck are
Exactly.
you gonna? What are you gonna
Well,
say to them then? There, you know?
Reload has some of their most experimental stuff ever. Sadly, none of that is on S&M, but it has a song called "Where the Wild Things Are," which is like 7 or 8 minutes long, and it's very groovy and psychedelic and weird. And it has a song that got a little bit more play. There was a famous. The unplugged Nirvana performance. I think the unplugged thing they did one with Metallica, and they played. It was called "Low Man's Lyric." They have a hurdy-gurdy and everything in that song.
Oh
That's
shit!
about
Wow.
it's about like being they got Frederick Knudsen on the song. It's crazy. It's about being homeless and like the trash fire is warm, but nowhere's safe from the storm. It's really experimental, weird, soft song. And yeah, of course it never would have been on like Ride the Lightning, but it's there, and it's like, yeah, it's a shame that they got like shunned away from doing that, because it was really interesting.
There you go.
all right. Are we ready for my next one?
Oh, next is Caddy.
Oh fuck, yeah, you're
Oh,
right.
cool.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
My
So
bad,
this
I
will be
mixed
my. No, you're good. And this will be my last for this session, I suppose. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Fifth pick on the "This Is Who I Am as a Musician" list is Paranoid, Black Sabbath. Probably a
Ooh, oh, yeah.
stereotypical, overchosen one, but you know what? It's overchosen for a reason. Every fucking track is brilliant. Like, War Pigs. Even I don't even like Paranoid. I don't even think is the best track, and they've admitted themselves they wrote it in 2 minutes. Like,
But hey,
Paranoid's a really simple song.
but even as a simple song, it still fucking rocks. Like, it still goes hard. But
it's driving.
Yeah, but you've got but then you've also got shit like Planet Caravan and stuff, and it's just like, you've got the heavy edgier stuff in War Pigs, and then it comes back down again, and then it goes up again. I've a million things have been said about this album. If you've never listened to Sabbath or listened to Paranoid, don't go into Paranoid with the song Paranoid. Go in with War Pigs. War Pigs is a fucking masterpiece. Do that. Like, musicianship is incredible. Tony Iommi famously lost the tips of one of his fingers from his job, so you hear the solos, you hear the guitar riffs and everything, and it's like a man with 3 fingers is playing that shit.
And he's one of the few popular left-handed guitar players.
Very true. Very true. And but then even like it's great because they like it's one of those albums where you can hear the band doing their thing, and like, I mean, Bill Ward as a drummer doesn't get enough recognition, especially for like early 70s drumming in metal or anything. Like, every single fill is fucking perfect, very tight, very good. But like, if you listen to Paranoid, when you listen to the main riff, not the but the chugging bit, when after it goes and then it goes right back up again, you hear the strings like kind of almost pinch harmonic accidentally because of Tony's fingers. And if you listen, like, once you hear it, you can't unhear it, and it's a bit annoying because it kind of goes, and you can't unhear it. But then it's raspy. But then you hear it, and you're like, oh, that's him playing it, you know? It's just, I like stuff like that. So that was that one there. Runner-ups, so weird. Again, this is because it's alphabetical, but also like loops in really perfectly with the previous. Cream, weirdly. So we went from Colosseum, now we're in Cream. Disraeli Gears from Cream. Classic psychedelic beginnings of early heavy shit. Ginger Baker, meme lord, classic, awesome drummer. There is a documentary about the drummer of Cream. His name is Ginger Baker. The documentary is called Beware of Mr. Baker, because that's the sign he had outside his house. Because the dude is fucking mental. Physically, he would just physically attack people he didn't like super.
We need to bring that back. You should do that next time you're at a con.
Okay, I'm not even kidding. The beginning of the I'm not spoiling anything here, but the beginning of the Beware of Mr. Baker documentary is him arguing with the director of the documentary, because the director asked him a question earlier on in the day. And at the time, Ginger Baker answered it fine. And then at the end of the day, he was like, I don't want you putting that in there. And then just got his walking stick and broke his nose. No fucking reason.
Holy shit.
So that's how the documentary begins. He's just the classic cantankerous old fuck. Sadly, he passed away 1.5 years, 2 years ago. But man. Icon, drumming icon, and he's popped up in very weird places, done weird collabs with different people. I've seen him live when he had his jazz band, and he was like fucking mid-70s and still, doing his thing with his kit. Invented more or less, even though he's said multiple times himself that he hasn't. But he has, basically. But he invented rock drumming in a sense. The whole idea of that was like, he started that whole thing. The idea of doing fills with the toms and not, relying on the snare for everything, like in jazz. But he was basically a jazz drummer that then loosened it up, and then it became hard rock, and then it became metal. Like, he laid the groundwork. And then, Clapton, bit of an odd character. You can Google things about him when he gets drunk.
Talk has certainly soured about him in the last little while.
And that's. It's
He's
a
not
shame
even
because
really that great of a guitar player, really. Because the
not
thing
really.
Is, I've played some of his stuff, and it's just Rocksmith or whatever. But I'm playing the same notes, and if I can play it as well almost as he can, sometimes, I don't know, is he that great? Really, he's just kind of a blues guitarist. It's fine.
I guess it's the idea of it's the early days of mainstream, what we come to know as rock music. It's like saying oh, Bill Haley and the Comets, they weren't very technically
Yeah.
impressive. But it's like, yeah, but without them, we wouldn't have fucking Elvis, and then we wouldn't
Yeah.
have one. Yeah, I guess that's how
And
people look at it.
to be fair, like there is also Cream, which is very interesting, and
Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely a big part of that. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it's yeah. Either way, Cream, Disraeli Gears. I think it's their first album. I think it pretty much is. But yeah,
my
the
dad
cover
would talk
alone.
about, but he would
Yeah.
talk about them all the time. He would never shut up. He loved. He would mention Ginger Baker a lot. I never heard about how crazy he was. Like I heard that
Ginger
about.
Baker's a fucking nutcase, man. Absolute.
That's really interesting because I know that about what's his name, the drummer for Led Zeppelin. I think he got.
Oh,
up
John
to
Bonham.
see-
Oh, John Bonham was just a drunk. Like
Yeah.
that's just a sad case.
No,
But,
no. It wasn't him. It was oh fuck, the guy from the Who. He was the one who like threw televisions into pools and shit.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but they all kind of did. Like,
Yeah.
Pete Townsend did that, and yeah. Do you know what? I mean, as a drummer, it's probably sacrilege for me to say I never really thought that he was that great.
Oh, yeah, he's
Keith
fine.
Moon. Keith Moon is his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, no, but even like the cover art of that album is incredible, and every track is like "Sunshine of Your Love" is on there, which is a classic. Not even the best track of the album. There's a track called "Swalabber," which is SWLABR, and there's in the chorus. It's like they mention a rainbow that has a beard. And it's like, what are you talking about, man?
Oh,
and then
shit.
there's this classic track called "The Tales of Brave Ulysses," which is like it's like a story. It's almost early fucking prog rock. It's so good. It's 1967 that was as well. But yeah, no, yeah, very influential, very very cool.
With, Outside Woman Blues, or was that a different album?
That's a different one.
Okay.
Oh no, it's you're completely right. I got that wrong. I thought that was the second album. Yeah, you're right.
That's one I remember really liking. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it ends with Mother's Lament, which is just all three of them singing with their most English accents possible about a mum that is washing the dishes and she has a really skinny baby, and then she accidentally drops her baby down the drain hole, and that's what the song's about. Which is yeah, it's super cool. And then fucking Jack Bruce, phenomenal singer and bass player, one of the founding like. You know, like when people think of Geddy Lee, when people think of Victor Woot, and when people think of Flea, it's like it all comes back to Jack Bruce. Like I think even if you look at Geddy Lee interviews, he'll always say Jack Bruce is one of the best singer bass players of all time. And yeah, can't disagree with that. Yeah, just classic shit from start to end. And then newer finds, I had one extreme to the next. Technically, it's a compilation, but I don't really know where to start with this dude, so this is really fresh for me. Fucking The Definition of X by DMX.
Oh shit.
I have just discovered DMX, and what I really love, because I've never been a rap person, I've never been a hip hop person, but what I'm really digging with DMX, and now I've come to discover with other gangster rap specifically, I love the aggression of it. It's almost borderline punk, borderline metal, but just a different sound. And it's always, it's politically charged, it's socially charged, and it's just it's the emotion, it's the anger. And dude is probably the angriest sounding gangster rapper I've ever fucking heard in my life. But then I haven't heard much. This is still new to me. But yeah, there's one lyric where he talks about he has blood on his dick because he fucked a corpse, and it's like, jeez, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super sick shit. And then there was like, I think I might be the only person in the world that can say this. What introduced me to him was that I was watching a DSP This Is How You Don't Play of Resident Evil 2 remake, and for those who don't know, there is a character in Resident Evil 2 called Mr. X, and in the remake, he just pops up out of nowhere and chases you down.
Yep.
And in this edit that somebody made of this playthrough of DSP, every time Mr. X popped up, again, X gon' give it to you, and it's the funniest fucking shit.
Yeah.
So
There's
every
a
time
mod that does that.
So
it's
good.
amazing.
Oh, is there?
Yep.
Oh, well, that's probably where the joke came from. But like, every time that song popped up, I just thought the hook was incredible, and I was like, I need to find out who this is. I need to listen to this music. And yeah, I fucking love it. I love it. So I need to get more into the actual albums, but as a starting point, yeah. But yeah, don't be greedy. X gon' give it to you. There's loads of good shit on that album. Loads of good shit.
Oh yeah.
We didn't get to much hip hop on this because we're suggesting here to do like 5 this time. It was really ambitious of us to think we were gonna get to like
20.
80 fucking
Like,
albums, whatever.
20
like,
songs of a list of each of them. Yeah, it's
and then Caddy, you had like extra ones too, which is also great. And
a
like
lot
yeah,
of them
we
are good.
had
Yeah.
it's well, yeah, I want to hear about all of them. So like, I don't want to shaft any albums or anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're thinking of doing 5 here, but we're not getting into much hip hop this time. We had Bane suggested, or one of Bane's picks was
Yeah, Death
uh,
Grips.
Death Grips. Yeah, the Money Store,
Which
and
I got a lot of hip hop on mine, but the last one I'm
do.
going to talk about is not hip hop. But I'll recommend the Caddy real quick. Check
Yeah.
out Run the Jewels. It's a collaboration effort between two rappers, LP and Killer Mike. Both of them do good shit individually, but each of their individual records, Run the Jewels 1, 2, 3, and Quattro, really great albums. I'll recommend them, but I didn't want to talk about them just yet.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
you mentioned that like how aggressive the gangster rap kind of thing can be, sort of like metal or something like that.
Yeah, in a
That was
weird
kind
way. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what kind of got me into Wu-Tang Clan similarly, was that sort of thing mixed with their a lot of their lyrics would be about like, fucking Ghost Rider and just Marvel comics and stupid like Godzilla bullshit.
Oh
Their
yeah,
whole
and like
imagery, their entire imagery is based on like just we're a bunch of fucking dorks who love like kung fu movies, and that we made that our whole like identity. It's basically the
yeah.
same thing as like, guys just wearing corpse paint and being like, "My name is Zawichicus the Demon Slayer. I'm the bass player." And it's just really nerdy fucking shit. You see like the music video for what is it, Triumph, I think, where Method Man is on his fucking motorcycle, CG'd in there in Times Square, going like, "Transform into the Ghost Rider," and he throws a fireball, and it's like, this is so stupid and adorable. It's great. They're
Oh
such
boy.
nerds. I
It's
love
fucking
it.
great.
You know what? I really enjoyed when I was working on my accessories video a few years back, and I ended up looking at the Wu-Tang PS1 controller.
Yeah.
That
I was playing
controller
the
fucks.
Oh, it fucks, but don't use it for more than
No.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
like
oh, it looks
you want
uncomfortable.
you want carpal tunnel, you use that controller. But yeah, no, because obviously it was for a Wu-Tang game, and they had a couple of songs from there, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna check out a few. So I did start listening to 36 Chambers, but I just didn't get far enough into it to say this is a great album. So like, I'll come back into that definitely.
You
'Cause
know,
I liked what I heard.
funny enough, and don't entirely quote me on this, I think you can actually put the PlayStation 1 game disc in your CD player and listen to... It's not a full
Oh, no
album, but I
way.
think it's like 10 tracks.
Well, that's kind of cool, yeah.
I'm pretty
That's very
certain.
cool.
I actually had the game for a couple years, but it got lost in like a move, and I paid way too much money for it.
So, Bane, what are you hitting us with?
So I'm gonna hit you guys with the Avalanches Since I Left You. I think earlier somebody brought up the term plunderphonics, and this is one of the best plunderphonics albums.
Yeah, that's one of the seminal ones, yeah.
Yeah, it tells a story through each of its tracks, but it is vague. Obviously, it's a plunderphonics album. They're taking various samples. The music videos are all really good, some fucking classics, but I think almost everyone who's listened, even vaguely heard of the Avalanches, has heard of Frontier Psychiatrist, and that is a fucking great track, and that's a track I'll recommend to everyone. Go listen to it. And,
Awesome.
Yeah, Tristan.
All right. Well, I think maybe we should wrap it up after this because I feel awful.
I think we're all
man.
in.
Trust me, I'd be down to do the full fucking 30 if I wasn't feeling like this, but it's not
Hit us
great.
with the
So,
last one, man.
my fifth one is "Dark Before Dawn" by Breaking Benjamin. This is
Oh,
where I think I'm
shit.
probably gonna lose some of y'all because God, I love Breaking Benjamin.
It's been a while since I've heard of someone say Breaking Benjamin, but hey, I'm down for it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's their fifth album. They stopped touring after a while because the front man's health problems kind of got in the way. Excuse me. Front man's health problems got in the way, and then there was also this big like stink about rights. Some of the other band members signed off on a kind of really, really bad remix of "Blow Me Away."
Yeah.
So, yeah, but they came back in 2015 with this album, and it's really fucking good. It has kind of the same structure as Phobia does, where it has an intro and an outro, and I think that they're gonna stick with that kind of formula. The thing with Breaking Benjamin, they are a bit formulaic, but God, it's a formula that works. It means you know what you're getting into as well.
It's
What
the
is
same.
the
You know what? I
genre?
would argue the same with AC/DC for the most part. Like that,
Yeah.
and same with country music. Like, Karis like made the joke once that she's not massively into country music that much. So whenever Johnny Cash would come on, which I like Johnny Cash, I don't love him, but I like him a lot. And it's like, this is the same song over and over again. It's like, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not that off.
Yeah,
You know?
like there's a track on Dark Before Dawn, Hollow, and then on the next track, I forget which track it was. Let me look. I think it's Tourniquet, but basically it's the same kind of lyrical structure right before the chorus. It's da na na na. Oh, I can't. My voice is fucked up, but bum 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 bum. There we
Oh,
go.
so many bums.
Oh, that was a great melody.
Yeah.
Hell
Clip that
if I-
shit.
if I was-
I'm sampling that right now.
Yeah.
if I was feeling better, I'd do it better. But jeez,
It worked.
but it's Breaking Benjamin can sound a bit samey, but also it's quality.
Yeah.
If I had to choose a track, Failure and Hollow tracks 2 and 5 mean a lot to me, but I think the best on the track on the album is track 8, Never Again. It's really, really good.
Hell yeah.
I've definitely heard the name Breaking Benjamin. I'm not super familiar with them though. So
See,
They've
done
they
some
did
songs.
yeah they did Blow Me Away for Halo 2.
oh,
Yep.
okay. I don't really. I kind of remember that. Yeah.
The song is a stone cold classic in my book.
Yeah,
for-
Blow Me Away is great. It's
I'd
fantastic.
know it like more in detail if I.
There is an awful remix they did a few years ago.
Go for the original version that's on the Halo 2 soundtrack, or the one with the vocals,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the remix they did. It's actually, you should check it out afterwards, but it's not good. Just know that
Yeah.
it's a bad experience, but it's funny.
Mm.
Yeah. With that, that's kind of a wrap on the episode. We're gonna follow this back with at least 5 more next episode.
Yeah,
And-
well, not next episode immediately,
Well,
but
yeah,
next time
next time we
we
do
do this,
this.
we're gonna have 5 more for you, people, or
5 more
however
go-rounds,
many, 5 more turns around the block. It was frankly stupid for us to be like, here's all of our albums. We're gonna keep this concise.
Yeah. We should have
That was never
realized.
gonna
It
happen.
kind of got away from
We
us.
should've
I don't
realized
think I
who
could
we
have done
all are.
one list of 20 and just stuck to that. That's not gonna happen.
We should have just realized who all of us are and how we all do things and been like, yeah, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, look, it's just nice to like be, you get surrounded by games and shit, and then it's like, actually, there are more things going on in life. It's nice to talk about other things.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
good. It's good fun.
I mean, it was nice to re-listen to some of these albums again, because there've been some where I was like, I haven't listened to this in years. Do I want to put this on here? And that saved a couple things from going on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's some where it's like, this is historically a favorite, but should it be?
Yeah. And there's some where it's like, oh, fuck, I didn't realize how good this was. I already thought this was good, but this is better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time we do this, I'm gonna potentially spice it up with a game soundtrack or two. Get it-
Ooh.
I've got a game soundtrack on my list.
yeah, same here. Actually, I have 2, kind of 3.
I mean, I
kind
could
of
go
free.
off for 20 minutes about Persona 5's music, but I'd probably pick something a little different than that. Something you'll never
Yeah.
see coming.
Ooh. But
I said the
know what
funny
that
thing.
means.
Yeah, I did it.
oh.
I know it.
Well, thank you everybody for
Yeah,
watching.
Caddicarus, you got anything going
Listening.
on? And shout out your socials also.
Yeah.
Well, my
Close us
socials are
out.
dead right now.
Well, I mean,
That's
I mean
true,
YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah, your YouTube. You know what I meant.
I'm current. I mean, yeah, I kind of spoiled it a second at the beginning, but yeah, I am currently working on the ugly world of the iToy camera on PS2. So
And the 480p world of the iToy camera.
No, dude, no, the 240p
Yeah.
world.
Oh, it's not. Oh, okay.
We're
Great.
talking
Even better.
0.3 megapixels, 24 frames a second. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Tristan,
yeah,
you're
so
thinking
that-
of the original
quality.
Kinect camera there.
Yeah, and surprisingly, it works better. So fuck me, right? But yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. I got all 28 existing iToy games. There's a couple of Japanese exclusives, Korean exclusives. I just got the
God.
whole iToy set, so we're going through 28 of them. Working on that right now. I want to get back into streaming. This was a good step up for me. This was a good reintroduction into streaming, and
Yeah.
just bouncing off of people and being in a live setting, because
Yeah.
that's for me. When I get into a rut and shit goes wrong and everything falls apart, I'm like, I can't go back on live.
Yeah.
I feel safe when everything's scripted and edited, but this has been a nice reintroduction, so I'm definitely going to go back into that. And I'm dual streaming now. I'm on YouTube and Twitch.
Oh shit.
So
Nice.
yeah,
What?
either follow twitch.tv/Caddicarus or youtube.com/caddyplays. And both the archives are working, and that's pretty much all there is going on for me right now. Yeah. Thanks for
Hey.
having me on. It's been so much fun as it was last time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been great.
I'm scared. I'm
Yeah.
scared. I'm gonna end up being a part of the show forever. It's just quite kind of scary.
Yeah,
Hey, I
you're
mean-
the permanent fourth guest.
I'd be okay
Yeah.
with that.
Tristan
I'm
is
just-
technically still our third guest who he's
Yeah, I
just
never
never
left.
gonna. Yeah, I guess I'm the first guest. and
Yeah,
Tristan-
technically, I'm
Tristan
the
is
host.
guest number two.
Am I the host? Technically, I'm the owner of the whole thing. I guess,
Technically,
but yeah,
you're the guy. Yeah, it's your podcast.
Yeah, you're the
but
CEO.
I'm the crazy man
Yeah.
who decided to set up everything. That's really what.
in the middle of a Halo night. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Shout outs to the people who we were like dunking on with the questions when it was like, well, we'll answer your questions later.
Yeah, it's that's on me. I'm sorry.
That thread's
No,
I'll
bookmarked.
keep the thread open
no.
for next time.
You didn't let me finish. I was gonna say, and then one of my answers to one of the questions was my literal final album on the list. So like, yeah, in 6
never got
8
to
months, whatever. We'll maybe get to that. You don't worry, you're gonna find out.
Well,
It's gonna happen.
Well, see, that's what's called the audience trap. That means they have to come back to the next episode of the next one.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It
Sure.
It's
does,
gonna
but
be an
yeah.
ongoing thing.
It's definitely not because of our poor planning.
Do you okay? Next time we do this, do you think it's a good idea to get through questions first, because then we're gonna get, and then we don't get carried away, and then like
That sounds like
yeah,
fun.
Well, we gotta
Yeah, then-
inform people of what we're doing. Like, people will have a better idea now of what we're doing for the question. Like,
Yeah.
what we're looking for. Questions about, like, I don't know, genres maybe. I don't know, more broadly, less specific about like bands and albums and things like that. I guess.
Yeah.
even I had I had a question, but I'm gonna wait until like an audience member
Oh.
might ask it, so I don't want to waste it in case it was on someone's mind.
Oh no, no,
Okay.
I'm curious. God damn it! Oh, audience members, you better. No,
well,
no.
Claw, if you
audi-
tune into your own stream next time,
Tune in
Yeah,
next
all
time.
right. I've been audience trapped. The audience, you better be smart and ask the question,
Yeah,
whatever it
that's-
is.
yeah, or I can ask it now and then just put everyone out their misery.
That's fair.
Whatever you want to do. I think we're. I think we're all. I think we're all interested, but I am interested to see what if the audience would be able to come up with it.
Okay, yeah, we won't do it now then. I've signed off, and you've asked me what I was doing. Yeah, we've signed off. Let's not keep this dragging on. Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
All right, folks. With that, this has been the first music episode, first music hyperfixation from Loud Equals Funny. Tune in next time. Peace.
Very nice.
Peace, man.
You.